Well, hello there, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Confused Breakfast Podcast. Do you remember the pure joy of a trip to the video rental store as a kid?
I do.
The excitement of walking down the aisles, browsing the names and the artwork, and finally picking out the movie you're going to take home with you.
Yeah, you bitch pig.
Sure, it's hard to
Dog.
beat the ease of the modern era and streaming platforms where you don't even have to leave your couch, but there was something truly special about hitchhiking your way to Blockbuster, picking out a movie, and watching it when you got home. On this podcast, we revisit and dissect some of our favorite childhood movies from that magical era to see if they still move us the way they did as kids. I'm your host, Mike Schulte, and joining me as always, two dudes who never knew how to use a chainsaw until our town got hit by a derecho in 2020. Sean Pryor and AJ Vance, how the heck are you?
Accurate.
My dad showed me.
Yep.
My dad taught me all about his chainsaw. He had two of them.
Oh, yeah, sometimes you got to have two.
He's experienced. Because, he had two. And that's how I learned how to really use a chainsaw.
They have
again.
a choke on them.
Yeah.
You don't just rev it up and you're good to go. There's a whole bunch of ins and outs on
Turns
it.
out maybe you have to sharpen the blades from time to time.
Got to.
do that way
Oil,
more than
probably.
we thought.
Yeah.
Lubricant on the thing.
You got to
Who knew
make
about
sure you
that?
got the proper mix ratio
Yep.
of oil and gas. You know, it's two-stroke, baby.
And, of course, eye protection and hearing protection.
Oh, right.
Oh,
Well, that I wear a mask.
yeah.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. It all
That
makes
helps.
sense now.
Yeah, it
What
does.
Leatherface is doing here.
Yeah, you get it.
Well, boys, on today's episode, we discuss a movie that has directly caused people to stop picking up hitchhikers in Texas, a movie that made Guillermo del Toro become a vegetarian, the biggest grossing independent film ever at the time of its release.
Gross.
Quentin Tarantino and Sean Pryor, birthday boy, both think this is a perfect movie. We're, of course, talking about 1974's Texas Chain Saw Massacre.
Well, damn. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for another nostalgic journey to the past with the Confused Breakfast. Sit back, relax, and enjoy wherever you are in the world. Take it away, boys.
I think for summer 70s, we need some
Yeah.
soul kind of
Damn it.
Yeah.
for
It's
our
too
intro.
late now.
Yeah,
It's too
well,
late.
God. Well, we are in the middle of summer of 70s. Normally, we're talking 80s, 90s, 2000s movies. For August, the entire month, we are hitting some 70s. So that is why you're going, what the heck, 74?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we're here. We're in the middle of it. And
Nice.
we
Love it.
are going to review this movie scene by scene with a modern eye. But in order to do that properly, we got to talk about it with pure nostalgia. So I'm going to go to AJ. AJ, I need to know the first time you saw this, what your thoughts were, what the vibe was, like everything you thought about this movie the first time you saw it as a kid. And your rating. NA for AJ. We do.
No, that's not true.
Whoa.
Aha!
Whoa.
How about it,
like
huh?
a chainsaw to the gut.
You bet, baby.
Not a chance. Come on.
On TBS, no.
Very funny.
Very funny.
Very
we know
funny.
funny. No. This was actually the first time I did see this was at a friend's movie showing of it in a basement.
Oh.
Sean's movie night.
Yeah.
He forced you into it.
He said, "This is what we're doing," and I said, "Well, okay, I'll be there." And I showed up and I watched it, and I did. I watched the whole thing. And so before this, let me say, prior to this, Sean Pryor even, I literally
Every time.
I saw the remake. When was the remake?
7, I think.
3.
3.
Three,
Okay.
I
four?
thought so.
Or something like that.
Yeah, I thought it was 3.
I saw that one with Arlie Ermy in it. Saw that one first. So it prepped me pretty darn well to go back to this one.
Cool.
And not be completely ruined, you know what I mean? So I will say this, for everything that I saw, before doing any deep dive, I wasn't about to research this movie or anything like that, unless we're obviously doing it in the show. That being said, very creepy for what it is and everything and how short and kind of to the point this movie is. I will still give it, nostalgically, I will give this a 5.6.
Wow, that's our good starting off point.
Yeah.
Well, you basically ruined the bit I have later because I just assumed that you had never seen this. But we're just going to pretend, from here on out, pretend that AJ's never seen this movie until today, all right?
Cool.
For me, I am definitely an NA, though, on this one. I
Okay.
definitely have seen, I saw the 2003 one for sure. I think I saw it in the theaters, but never went back to this one because I was like, yeah, I saw the 2003 one. You know, I don't need to go back. And it was hard to find too because there's a space between Chain and Saw. So I was like, I don't understand. Is this a miss? In fact, when we pulled it up to watch it, I was like, is this the right one? I don't know what we're doing here. So I'm gonna be a big NA. Sean, I'm going to save you. We're going to go to executive producer Josh Miller first. He says, let me say first, while I think I have seen this movie to completion or really close to it, I don't think I've seen it from start to finish in one go-around. I have no real recollection of any of this movie, sans the ending scene, which has to be used in other forms of media and been somewhat recreated in countless remakes, sequels, prequels, which I have seen all of, including that awful one from the 90s with Matthew McConaughey and Renee Zellweger. Was R. Lee Emery in that one? I don't think he was. I know he was in the 2004-ish. No one ever knows the year of that.
No, it's not important.
2004-ish remake.
I'm going to find out right now.
I don't think he was. I'm looking forward to seeing this again, as I know it's a staple in the canon of horror movies. Its filming style and substance was unheard of at the time. By the way, I've driven by the house used for filming in the 2004 remake and 2006 prequel. It's not that far from where I live in Texas distance anyways. Everything in Texas is far. One of the few states that, unless you're dedicated, can take you 2 days to drive through. Yeah. I-10 from Louisiana to New Mexico is close to 900 miles east to west, and McAllen to Texline is almost 850 south to north. Jesus. Since nostalgia scores really don't matter, I'm going to forego my nostalgic score since I don't think I've watched this movie properly. I think you guys will understand. So NA from Josh as well. Sean, this was your choice for Summer of 70s. What is your thoughts on this?
2003 remake.
2003, so that was correct.
That was actually my first outing of Texas Chain Saw Massacre movie. Actually, no, but I was getting into horror at the time and wanting to consume everything that I could that was classics. And at the time, there was a glut of remakes coming out around 2003, 2004-ish. You had the Friday the 13th one was coming out. All those movies, they were all remaking everything. And so before I saw the remakes, I wanted to see the originals. And so I had heard about the Texas Chain Saw Massacre. I think it's one of those movies where it's so legendary, you are just like born with the thought of it in your head and like, oh, it was real and it all actually happened.
You heard about that.
That was like the vibe that I had. And so I watched the original before the remake, and I loved it, and have since come to the conclusion that I will give at the end of this episode. But at the time, I would have to say that it was a 8.
A8 from Sean.
8.
What's your rating there? 8.
8.
So that takes us nostalgically just with 2 scores to a 6.8. It's not going to be anything too crazy on our list of all the movies we've done. That is going to be around number 70. Interestingly enough, right above Monster Squad is where that's going to land.
Okay.
So, you know what I'm saying? But we are going to throw that out the window. We're going to talk modern day from here on out. First, we got to learn the pertinent, important details from Sean. What do you got, man? Don't take too long.
Sean, don't take too long, but we did get you a present. Okay.
We did?
We did.
Oh,
okay.
It's Sean's birthday.
Yeah. Duh.
Right now.
It's his podcast birthday.
Okay, podcast birthday, yep.
All right. It is in this room.
Okay.
It's here. It's in front of you.
Okay.
It's underneath the head. Lift up the head.
Lift up the head.
Watch on the YouTube. We have a head on our table.
Oh, my God.
Let's see.
Come on. You're going to have to stand up.
There. Let's see what the present is.
And let's see what this present is.
Let's see what it is.
Yeah, he just got iced.
He got
baby.
iced on his birthday.
Iced on his birthday.
What an idiot.
A screwdriver, nonetheless.
Oh, my God, you gullible, stupid idiot. Oh, man. Take a knee.
He got iced, bro.
Yes.
You remember when we used to ice people all the time?
Ice people.
I hated that game. While Sean is icing this, it was the dumbest game anyone's ever played.
Look at him go. Do it, baby. Do it, baby. Oh. Yes.
Sean, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you guys so much.
Now, please do your segment.
Now, please go ahead.
Burp my way through it.
That's exactly why I did it.
Toby.
fucking screwdriver.
Screwdriver.
Holy hell, you assholes.
I hate that. I hate that we brought this game back because it's the worst game ever.
Oh, it's gonna happen to both of you now.
The most acidic Smirnoff I could possibly find. You had to try.
Did you just buy one by itself?
No, I had to buy a damn 6-pack of that.
That's the worst part about this game.
No.
And when you buy ice to ice people, you buy ammo.
Yeah, I know. So just in case you guys want, there's 5 more of those in there.
Great. Thanks a lot, AJ.
All right, I'm gonna give this a shot.
You bet.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Produced by Richard Sands, Jay Parsley, Kim Hinkle, and Toby Hooper. Written by Kim Hinkle and Toby Hooper. Cinematography by Daniel Pearl. He also worked with Hooper again on Invaders from Mars. He also shot the remake in 2003, and a shit ton of music videos.
All right.
Like, think of one right now.
Guns N' Roses, November Rain.
Yes.
White Stripes. Any of them.
Yes.
Metallica, The Unforgiven.
He shot them. He shot them all. Music by Wayne Bell and Toby Hooper. Directed by Toby Hooper. R.I.P. Cast: Marilyn Burns, Alan Danziger, Paul Partain, William Vale, Terry McKinn, Edwin Neal, Jim Sideout, John Dugan, and Gunnar Hansen.
Clears the sentences.
It does.
Sentences, yeah.
After making the low-budget film Eggshells, Austin, Texas-based filmmakers Kim Hinkle and Toby Hooper were trying to think up an idea for their next movie. The two knew that horror movie was marketable and could be made for cheap, so that is the route that they took. Looking for inspiration for an idea, the pair researched the heinous crimes of Ed Gein, who, when caught, had decorated his house with various macabre decomposing body parts. Then one day, Toby Hooper was in a Sears wanting to check out, but the line was incredibly long. Hooper glanced over at the hardware section and noticed a rack of chainsaws. Hooper thought to himself, "I bet if I turn that on, I could get out of here much quicker." So the idea was born, and the two got to writing. With the working title Leatherface, also sometimes referred to as Head Cheese, the team was set to get the film funded by a local production company called MAB. After funding the film, the team then set out to cast the project, getting mostly film students and friends to play the roles. Gunnar Hansen, who would play Leatherface, originally turned down the role due to the extreme subject matter. Feeling the regret of that, Gunnar ran into a friend and producer of the film. This friend/producer said the person they got to replace Gunnar was holed up in a motel somewhere, drunk off his ass and not coming out, and they needed Gunnar, and he agreed. Principal photography began in the sweltering heat of in the summer of 1973, and the film shot mostly in and around Round Rock, Texas. Being such a low budget, the cast and crew would have a hard time dealing with the heat, which would peak at 110 degrees at one point. Jeez. Most of the cast only had their one costume because the filmmakers were scared a laundromat would lose them or some of the colors would fade. The cast wore the same wardrobe for the 32 days they shot. Gunnar Hansen, who plays Leatherface, actually, he has a story of them like having lunch or whatever, and people could not sit by him because he stank so much.
Oh my god!
So if this movie, to me anyway, it feels and looks like it stinks, like I need to take a shower afterwards, it's true because they wore the same clothes. Everyone was sweating their goddamn ass off, and he had to be segregated from the rest of the cast. Jesus. Production designer Bob Burns just straight up drove around looking for dead animals and dead animal bones to create the killer's family house. The dinner scene in the film famously took a rumored 24 hours to shoot. It is 24 or 16, like there's so many numbers, but either way, it took a shitload of time, and most of the cast members came out of the shoot with some sort of injury. The film wrapped, and friend of Hooper, head of the Texas Film Commission at the time, and future scriptwriter of Beetlejuice and Batman, Warren Scarron would suggest to Hooper to change the title from Leatherface to the Texas Chain Saw Massacre. When the film was released, as far as the cast and crew knew, what they were hearing was the film was a smash hit and that they were about to get pretty hefty paydays. But that won't be the case. That wouldn't be the case if most of the distribution rights were held by a company called Bryanston, which was a mob money launderer. Read Gunnar Hansen's book for more on that. Gunnar Hansen, who plays Leatherface, has an incredible book that I read 3 times before doing this show. He has a breakdown of every single detail of the shooting of this and the subsequent release and the money dealings that went on. Like, no one got paid. I think his first royalty check was like for $17.
And this was a smash hit, right?
Yeah, that's what they thought.
But it was correct. It was
yeah.
bringing in a lot of money.
Yeah,
they
like,
just weren't getting
what they
any.
were hearing was definitely true. It was just they weren't getting any of it. Yeah, you're right.
Wow.
But yeah, his book is absolutely fascinating, and he's since passed away, but an excellent writer.
Yeah.
I love that book.
Sweet.
On October 11th, 1974, TCM was released, and on a budget ranging from $80,000 to $140,000, the film would go on to make $30.9 million at the box office, create a franchise as well as a remake, and over time would cement itself as one of the most notorious horror movies of all time.
All right, man. Well, thanks, Sean. Up next, we're going to talk to AJ. He's going to hook us up with... He's going to... Good timing, AJ. He's going to... AJ, we have a gift for you.
I see the rich you.
I seen her. I slip nodded you. I number 9'd you.
That's how this episode's going to go. I know it. Well, AJ's going to hook us up with ratings and reviews from critics and fans alike. What do you got about the Texas Chain Saw Massacre?
Surprisingly, there wasn't a lot of red in this,
No.
but we got plenty for you here on the Tomato Meter. Gross. 89% on the
wow.
Tomato Meter, certified fresh.
You want to know what movie that's tied with of any movie we've done?
The Thing.
The Breakfast Club.
Wow.
Well.
Totally the same.
It's funny because the sequel, Texas Chain Saw Massacre 2, their poster would rip off like the group
It does.
poster of Breakfast Club.
I saw that and I'm like, is it a comedy now? Because I don't.
Texas
Because
Chainsaw
now I
2
hate
Lost in New York.
Lost in Shermer High. It's like 82% from the audiences, so they somewhat agreed. But this is a 7.4 on IMDb.
You will like this. Of all the movies we've done, that is tied with The Evil Dead
Oh, nice.
on IMDb.
There you go.
I think that's about as high as you can get as a horror movie.
Yeah, I think so.
I
That's
don't
it.
think you'll ever get higher than that.
No.
Nope.
No, you can't.
You're not allowed.
It's just not. Yeah.
Here it's illegal.
Guys, let's run through all the hundreds I could find. Hundreds out of 100. 1 out of 1s. The best out of the best. Film Threat, Chris Parcellin said, a black-humored, unflinching look at the ugly American at his psychotic worst. And Tobe Hooper is at his best as a writer and a director here. The Independent, Sophie Morris, director Tobe Hooper trapped a suffocating depravity of in Texas Chain Saw Massacre that filmmakers have struggled to copy ever since. Empire, Kim Newman said the film has outstanding sound effects, art direction, and editing, and a clutch of effective, if necessarily one-note performances. Also, Empire, William Thomas said the most purely horrifying horror movie ever made. Roger Ebert,
Yeah.
not so much.
Okay.
He gave this a half out of a 1.
Really?
50 out of 100.
Okay.
Yeah, you know. So, the Texas Chain Saw Massacre is as violent and gruesome and blood-soaked as the title promises. A real grand
Guignol.
guignol. So you've read this before.
Yeah.
Great.
Of
course he fucking has.
He was waiting to be
He
like,
doesn't even have this in front
I'll
of him.
correct him.
I'll just make
when
sure
he
he
gets
knows.
to that word.
I'll just make sure he doesn't
It's
fuck this up.
So funny you say that.
Grand
because
guignol.
It's exactly the thought.
A movie. It's also without any apparent purpose unless the creation of disgust and fright is a purpose. And yet, in its own way, the movie is some kind of weird, off-the-wall achievement. I can't imagine why anyone would want to make a movie like this, and yet it's well-made, well-acted, and all too effective.
Wow.
So there you go. So Mike's unimpressed. Got it.
He's the end of Stand By Me. Closes his computer.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, I forgot to say.
Oh, shit.
Shit.
Shit. I forgot to say,
It doesn't auto-save yet.
dang it.
That review sounds as good as the last time I heard it, which was a minute ago.
You bitch.
While he was drinking his ice, he was like, remember how to pronounce the word.
Yeah, you're going to get him back. You're going to get him.
All right. I got a few here. I'm gonna cut this up a little bit.
Thank you.
Because you're right. Dick. Let's do 6 out of 10. deserves its status for its free-spirited nature. Frederick Gunerius said this very recently.
Yeah, no, you got that one right.
Thank you. You did read this one too? Okay, good. Perhaps a little remarkably, Tobe Hooper's shoestring budget for the Texas Chain Saw Massacre, one of horror history's greatest cult successes, is more apparent during the film's rather conventional first half. When Hooper is setting the stage for his journey into the Texas backcountry and we're supposed to become acquainted with our group of young adults, the movie looks and feels like the semi-professional product of an autodidact that it arguably was. There is also nothing to suggest the film's eventual cult status in the story per se, but once we start accompanying our cast of characters into the Ed Gein-inspired Victorian house, which would become the scene of the crimes, Hooper taps into a very 1970s fascination for, and arguably fear of, kidnappings, torture, murder, and inbreeding, which resonates through his feverish camera work and brilliant use of blood and other cheap special effects. For its all-obvious shortcomings and limited scope, the Texas Chain Saw Massacre deserves its status for its free-spirited nature in the midst of the genre conventionality. The film turned into a franchise with several sequels, plus the reboot in 2003, which no one liked.
Wow.
I did.
I did
too.
Okay.
He's wrong.
Okay.
I will say, like, as a franchise, like, you have your Freddy's and you have Jason, which are like two good, like, there's good movies in those franchises.
Yeah.
The second one is good. All the other ones are pretty bad.
That's what
Texas
you're
Chainsaw
saying.
Massacre.
So you're saying one is good, two's pretty good,
Mm-hmm.
and then we don't really like the rest.
Not really.
But the remake's in its own world.
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay.
I think that one exception could be the one called Leatherface, which I think is like the fourth or fifth one. But speaking of franchise, it's like the least
Watchable.
Yeah, yeah.
like Friday the 13th. Yeah, sure, whatever.
Yeah.
But this one's kind of like,
Yeah.
There was one of these that was I don't know if this is actually him, but I had to at least make mention of it. It was a 1 out of 10 called Disappointing by John LaJoie.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's really him or not. This is in 2005.
No shit.
And I'll just give you some excerpts. He said, film was one of a list of the films that I wanted to see when I turned 18. What a disappointment. The film has no storyline, hardly enough violence to suit an M rating, and an abrupt ending which hardly explained anything.
Okay.
I'll go here, kind of jumps to the end, or I'll jump to the end, and he says, the one thing I'm thankful for is that there wasn't a sequel.
Uh-oh.
Oops. What year was that?
That was 2005 that he said this.
Yeah, there had been plenty.
Yeah, and he said, quite possibly the worst film I've ever seen. There's no explanation of motives or why there was an abandoned house in the middle of nowhere and how a pickup truck appeared out of nowhere to save the day. A poor film with no detail.
Okay.
So, last one here, guys. John LaJoie, if you're listening and I read your thing, will you just let me know? I'd be honored.
Huge fan of your acting, and
fan.
even more of a big fan of Wolfie's Just Fine.
So, which also means if that is him, he will not be listening to this episode.
Yes.
Because he'll be like, nope.
Yes.
just want to throw that out there.
That's a good point. Damn it. Okay. 1 out of 10, last one, guys. Classically bad. John Monroe said very recently, May 22nd of 2023, warning, spoilers. I saw this movie for the first time in 2023, and I have seen the other more recent versions and thought they were so-so. But I have watched multiple classic horror movies. By the way, everybody always says, like, whenever they're about to critique a horror movie, but I just want to clarify, I'm a huge fan of fucking horror movies, okay? I'm a huge fan of horror movies. I love horror movies, all right?
I saw Ernest Scared Stupid.
I saw Ernest Scared. I love horror movies. They got what they deserved. Being born in 87 or so, going expecting the dates, cringe older films, but this one was just too much. The actor that played the brother is so cringe and weird. They come across a hitchhiker, and he has an unexplained birthmark on his face, or it's blood. Either way, he looks like a meth head, and like that nobody would ever pick up.
Correct.
And he does one weird thing after another before we move to the massacre, which is then just literally walking one by one into a house where they get surprise knocked out and cut up with a chainsaw. The grand finale has the final girl running with the chainsaw, feet behind her head, but screaming at full blast. That chase goes through bushes, then comes back to his house, where instead of opening the front door, he chainsaws through his own front door and finishes with her getting knocked out by the straw end of a broom for some reason. The fact this movie is not only revered, but is labeled a classic and has spawned sequels blows my mind. Pure awful. 1 out of 10.
All right.
You'll have your time.
Yeah,
Hey, you'll get it.
Some good points.
I'm just saying, before we get into the scene-by-scene dissection of Texas Chain Saw Massacre, we need to talk about something that Leatherface should have been using. He should have been using Caldera Lab.
You gotta be right.
If he was as obsessed about skincare and skincare routines as I am, maybe he wouldn't have been committing murder with the chainsaw.
Yeah.
He would have had nice face, which made him like go out more in public. I'm just saying, I'm thankful for our friends at Caldera Lab. Their products are clinically proven and help visibly reduce wrinkles, fine lines, and signs of aging. Simplicity is the key in this. Caldera created a high-performance men's skincare product called the Regimen that's basically a twice-a-day routine. Easy to follow directions, incredible products. You start with the clean slate. That's like your balanced cleanser. Get all the shit off your face, make it nice. Then you go to the Icon. That is a nice thing that addresses the 3 most common skin concerns around the eyes: the fine lines, the dark circles, the puffiness. I noticed a difference instantly. Then you go to the base layer. That's just like a hydrating moisturizer you put on in the morning. And then you got the good at nighttime. I'm telling you, this is a clinically proven multifunctional serum that helps your skin look tighter and smoother and reduces the visibility of all the wrinkles. It has 3.4 million antioxidant units in the serum, protecting your skin. Caldera Lab's made of top-tier ingredients and is a great addition to your daily routine.
Get it.
Taking less than a minute morning and night, and here to reduce your wrinkles, fine lines, and signs of aging. I was gone all weekend, forgot my products. I felt dirty. I felt disgusting. Yeah. That's how important it's become in my daily routine. I fully endorse it. I know these guys do. I really hope you'll join us in trying out this amazing company that is directly supporting your favorite podcast in the world. So all you can do, go get 20% off. Try it. CalderaLab.com with code CONFUSED. 20% off. You have to elevate your skincare game this summer with Caldera Lab. They are our best friends, and you should be their best friends.
Hell yeah.
You
I
have
love it.
to.
This was my face before Caldera.
Right. Can we get a before and after for Sean?
Yeah, yeah.
Real quick.
Before?
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 After.
After. There
Before?
you go.
Small difference, but
After. Good one, Chris. Got him.
Seriously though, you should because it's helped me start an even better morning routine, actually. Mm-hmm. Like actually starting a better routine, not just like, oh God, I got to put on deodorant and hope I can brush my hair. Like it's awesome, and it look at this.
Look at this.
Look at this eye. So much
Beautiful.
better.
Ignore the twitching. It looks good.
We're new dads. These bags have been sagging, and Caldera's been helping.
On August 21st, 2020, Mike Schulte started a group message on Facebook. He had the idea of starting a movie podcast in Lynn County, Iowa. On the other end of the group message was Sean Pryor and his invalid best friend, AJ Vance. The group did indeed start the movie podcast, and things were going well until they made a chilling discovery that shocked and horrified a nation in which many still call the most gruesome discovery of all time. Sean was a horror movie fan, and AJ couldn't stand them. After much arguing, nearly ripping the core of their friendship apart, Sean Pryor was finally giving his wish, and the group agreed to watch and review one of the most beloved horror movies of all time. What you're about to hear is the shocking truth of what happened when AJ Vance was forced to watch a horror movie against his will. Now, for the first time, AJ has come forward to tell the truth of what really happened in that dark, scary basement when he hit play on this movie. Did he find himself being stalked by a chainsaw-wielding madman who would leave a trail of blood and terror that would forever be known as the Texas Chain Saw Massacre? We shall find out. Here we go.
Fucking brilliant, dude. Yeah, that's amazing.
Come on, AJ. It'll be so much fun. It'll be so much fun. Just come along. We have a great old time.
So scene 1, driving in a van, 5 friends, Sally, Jerry, Pam, Kirk, and Franklin. After stopping at a cemetery, they pick up a hitchhiker. After weirding them out, they eventually kick him out of the van. Low on gas, the van stops at a station where no fuel is available. In honor of my monologue, I was blown away to find out who that was. John LaRoquette was the one that narrated that whole intro. And I looked it up. That this is his first thing ever.
You know what he did it for?
No.
There's not money. No booze
There will
or
be no
anything.
money.
No money for this. He did it for a joint.
I love John LaRoquette.
Yeah. So John Larroquette, I believe, AJ, he's in a couple episodes of The Office.
I'm trying to look him up here.
You know who he is. He's in
I
Night
have to know
Court.
him.
Night Court was like his big TV series. He was in Summer Rental. He had the John LaRoquette show, I think, on TV. He's just, I don't know. I like his voice. He's got a very good voice. And I know it just and I didn't know it was him, but then after I heard it and went back, I'm like, oh, of course, that's him.
When I first found that out, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And he does the same for the remake as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool.
He looks like Beau Bridges.
Yeah, totally. That's me.
Okay.
Yeah, he looks like Beau Bridges. I don't know. It's like I get him and Beau Bridges confused all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I mean, like, absolutely incredible way to start this movie, like with that narration, and then it's just black screen, and you hear sounds of like digging and like kind of grunting here and there, and then you get that goddamn sound effect, man, and with the flashes of
which,
carnage.
by the way, I think they used that exact same one in the remake too.
Probably.
I feel like they used that exact same weird sound. It immediately sets the creep factor tone of this movie. You're immediately like, ah.
Yep.
And the fact that this had to be one of the first movies where they ever sort of played the true story thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because it's really not based on a true story at all.
I read that. Yeah, that it's not. However,
but they sure do frame it, and you couldn't Google it back then. So you went out of this telling your friends, be like, "Oh my God, this really happened. He's still out there."
They called these like drive-in movies, and a lot of them they would set this theme of like based on a true story. And again, like you said, it's like you had no way of proving it wrong, like at least not easily. So you're just left thinking, "Oh, is this true?" Like,
sure don't want.
And now it would be very unsettling if that's how it started, and then I'm just getting what I imagine, or like, or my brain goes to crime scene photos.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Like, ugh.
And it's cool to find out too that like this wasn't originally the beginning they were going to have. They were just going to have the movie start off with the kids in the van, and that's the beginning of the movie.
Needed this, I think.
And so this is all shot after. And the Bob Burns, the production designer, who is just like a fascinating character to watch in interviews. Like, he's got a deep kind of voice and also like a really deep Texas accent. So and he pronounces his T's like and I just found an armadillo on the road, and I just put in a goddamn picture, and it was perfect to a T. Like, he's like
Texas T.
Texas T.
I'm from Texas.
Who's that? Who are you talking about?
Bob Burns.
Okay.
You want any sun tea?
Well, and it's even pretty
Hard
interesting,
on the T's.
Sean, too. Like in the background of all this, then you're hearing the news, like the newscast, right? And it's like it's so interesting to me that either the news was just as negative in 1974 as it is today, or they purposely went all negative. Because you can't really hear it, but if you close caption it, you can hear what the newscasters saying, and every story is terrible, bad, terrible, bad, and it really just continues to just pound down this like evil negative tone on you right from the start. And then you're seeing this thing in the cemetery and you're like,
yeah,
I'm so glad they made the choice to do it this way as opposed to just we're annoying kids in a van.
Yeah, totally.
Like no, set the tone and then let me go. It's like Paranormal Activity when there's the and then finally it's daytime. You go, oh, thank God.
Okay, cool.
It's daytime again. Like, it was sort of that. Like, once they got to the van, I knew we were going to be okay for at least a little while.
Yeah, I mean, it's truly incredible, I think, and as far as like setting the tone is like if you're in or out, and now is like when like kind of AJ and I talked about before you got here, Mike. It's like a roller coaster. This is the part where it's going uphill. You know, you're in for the ride. And it's going downhill from here, for sure.
The problem is you don't know, like when you look at a roller coaster, you say, oh, well, if I get past there, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
You don't get that with this. Or a horror movie. Like, this is like, oh, God.
This is a roller coaster going up a mountain, and then all you can see is that it goes into the ground, and then you can't see
and you can't see anything else.
You don't know what happens under the ground.
And you could say this is like Hooper and Kim Hinkle's response to like dramatizing the news, or like violence. What's the term? If it bleeds, it leads. that
Okay,
kind of
yeah,
thing,
yeah.
where it's like we only want that, or
Yes.
like you stop on the side of the road to see a car crash. You know,
Yeah,
like
oh,
it's
yeah.
a response to that, and it's kind of shoving that back into society's face a little bit, or like a commentary on just the news being sensationalized. You know?
Yeah. Can I? Oh,
go
yeah,
ahead.
no,
Ahead.
you're good, man. I just want to ask you, like, did they ever describe, like, where are these kids going? What are they doing? Why are they in this van? Are they just, because the remake, and I'll come back to it quite a bit, there's a defined reason why they're going somewhere.
Skinner, dude.
Skinner, dude.
Go see some Skinner.
Fucking Skinner. But these guys, were they trying to go to this cemetery? Was that the main reason they were going there? Were they trying to go to the family house? Was that the main thing they were trying to do? Or were they just driving around? Like, because there's nothing else to do.
Sure.
There was from what I gathered, there is the cemetery was where a family member is buried.
Yep.
And so Franklin and is it Sally, they're brother and sister.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were going, and so they knew that their family house was in the area. They're going to their family house, the Hardestry house.
Hardesty or whatever.
And that's what they were going to go do, and then they pull off for like gas or whatnot, and that's what they find out. That's their goal. Whether or not that's like, oh, we want to go there, or if it was just like, oh, hey, we should go and see if it's what's still there. Maybe that's what
heard
it
about
was.
it.
Hey, we've got a half a day to kill.
Do you think? I mean, do you know what's going on here? Or you
That's
just
my
kinda
vibe. I think they kind of knew about these grave desecrations that were going
okay.
on, and they were like, well, let's go see if our relative. Who are they going to see? I forget.
Yeah,
was
it's
their
a grandparents
Grandpa.
or something
Yeah.
own that property that they go to.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think they're like that's the initial plan, and they're like, well, let's just make a day out of it and bring our friends and smoke some pot and have some fun along the way, and I guess we'll bring Franklin. Fuck.
Christ.
But yeah, I think it's just the like, oh yeah, we'll bring some friends along, go to our old house, fuck around in there a little bit, like they live in the city now. I say like they're students, it seems like, and so they're like going to this place where they grew up, but they are very far removed from now.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense.
I think what's cool is we get this very, very gritty live action version of like Scooby Doo,
Yeah.
essentially, and we get a real look into how it actually is in the Mystery Machine. It's not nice and cozy and cool. It is.
There's
hot.
no seats.
There's no seats. There's no AC.
Why would there ever be seats in a van?
I will tell you this: we went on. I was on tour. And we went through Texas in July and August without AC in a van just like this.
Yes.
No seats, one in the back. We slept in this van. There was 7 dudes in this van.
Fun.
I can tell you, just 5 would be awful. I can't imagine that. Like that would be absolutely disgusting.
Would you have ever picked up a hitchhiker?
No. Absolutely
No.
not.
Have you ever in your entire life ever been like, I should pick up a hitchhiker?
I don't think there's like even many stories of it working out well.
No. There's a
know?
reason this person is trying to hitchhike.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna be he's and they even assume, oh, you coming from like the meat place down there, so he's probably just walking home.
Yeah.
Hey, we should pick up this hitchhiker. Are you sure? It's like, well, yeah, I mean, he'll collapse out here. It's so hot. It's like, yeah, but he could kill us. How about
Rather
that?
him than us.
Yeah, like I'd rather it be him than us.
Well, going back a little bit before this, isn't that the old slaughterhouse right there? That's where Grandpa used to work or whatever. And it's why I think this movie is like more art than it is just like kind of schlock grindhouse, drive-in movie, where it is kind of saying something. And this could be the more obvious thing that it's saying, as like they're literally cattle going to this place to get slaughtered or massacred, and it's a brilliant shot of just like, well, they get inserts of the cows just like breathing heavy and shit.
hated that.
It's weird.
Because
But
you
then-
think you're going to see him die or something.
I don't
You're
wanna
just
see
like,
that.
"Duh," and then it never happens.
It's all suggestive. It's all playing it against
100%.
you, and I'm sure
It's
we'll talk about
brilliant.
more. That's a lot of this is your brain fills in a lot of blanks.
Totally.
It's cool because
So-
like they're talking about it, and it's like, yeah, they used to kill him this way, I know, and now they kill him this way, and now everyone's out of work, But then there's the shot of the van in the background, and then the foreground is just cows like lined up to get slaughtered, and it's super cool to see that juxtaposition right there of Hooper be like, I know what I'm doing,
Yeah.
I know what I'm
I'm
trying to.
pretty good.
That's what you do in movies. You tell a story visually, and I think that's exactly what he's doing.
Yeah. I just, picking up a hitchhiker, you're like, oh, yeah, let's pick up this hitchhiker.
Pick him up!
Pick him up! Let's add some more stink into this van. We've already got Pee Pants Franklin over here. He's covered in his own pee after rolling down that hill.
Which, by the way, I don't know if I've laughed that hard in a long time.
It's
watching that truck go by and him going, ah! Like that. I was like, is this a comedy?
Well,
what are we doing here?
You know right away that they're not really friends with him because a real friend would have helped him stand and deliver that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? They would have been like, yeah, go for it, buddy.
Give him a coffee can.
You know?
How many times has he pissed in that coffee can?
That coffee
Gross.
can is attached to the underneath part of his wheelchair. Like, it's his PP can.
That's his pee can.
Yeah, PP can.
Yeah, so
Because Franklin can't just say pee. He has to go pee pee.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
and go pee pee. and go pee pee.
Sally, I got pee pee.
Let's hit a few of these characters. Like I want to feel bad. Okay, let's put it in my perspective. I'm watching this for the first time. John Larroquette calls him an invalid brother. I was like, it's like, what the fuck's invalid mean? And I'm like, it can't be. I saw the remake. They were all very capable,
Very nice.
hot people. And then they show Franklin. I'm like, what? Like you can't. I don't understand. They put the ramps down.
They're putting the ramps down, and I'm like, I don't remember this part.
I don't remember this either. And so I wanted to feel like so bad for him, but man,
Yeah.
and I thought he was going to be like this main character. It's like, no, well, not really, I guess.
You pull out the ramps. You're like, are they about to pull out a go-kart?
I know.
Is this movie about to get fucking rad?
Is this about to
Yeah.
get fucking rad?
They brought their dirt bikes.
Yeah.
This is about to get sick.
Dude.
But it turns out Franklin's just sick.
And
unfortunately.
fucking annoying as shit.
God. The invalid.
Yeah, well, it's funny too.
Sean Pryor's invalid friend, AJ.
It's funny too because on that shot of him like rolling down the hill and everything, that was his last day of filming. Oh my god! And so he was like, I will not shoot this last shot unless I have a paycheck in my pocket. Because he didn't have any hope for this or nothing, and he's like, I need that check. They're like, well, there's some points left if you want to wait when the movie releases. You're gonna get rich, man. Like everyone thought. He's like, no, I want my paycheck right now, and so they paid him, and he did the shot. So when you watch the movie, him rolling down the hill, there is a check in his pocket.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
god!
I mean,
I
you
didn't know that.
You can't see it, but like it's there.
That's hilarious. I just think we're past this, right? And the invalid's talking about the dead hammering and stuff like that, and then they get like he's already creeping them out, like and like giving them like freaky imagery and stuff like that, and then they pick up this hitchhiker, and like if this guy got into there. Wouldn't you just like immediately stop and be like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, we can't do this
Ooh,
anymore.
wrong one.
Yep, wrong one. I'm sorry, we thought you were someone else.
I had no idea that someone could have a permanent skid mark.
Yes.
I didn't know that guy could happen.
Anybody that has an animal pouch around their neck nothing good is in there.
Even in the 70s, that's a little off.
Yeah, you don't.
Yeah.
There's nothing like. There's not like a wallet in there or something. It's bad stuff.
I like knives.
Yeah.
I really like knives. Like I like going to Menards and just looking at the knives. Knives are cool.
Knives
are
cool,
dope, bro.
But if I was like with someone and if I picked someone up that I didn't know at all and I saw his face light up when he saw my little tiny Swiss Army pocket knife, like he gets stoked as shit. That was warning sign number 11.
Dude, Sean, it is nonstop warning signs, and they just don't ever seem to. It's kind of like, until finally, what is the final one? The fire.
Fire, and he cuts Franklin's arm.
Yeah, even then, like the arm. Well, the fire was after cutting him in the arm, wasn't it?
No, like that was his last move.
Okay, cool.
They're like, oh, fire, and then he's like, how about this, bitch?
Yeah. Did you hear some of those theories about the mysticism of this and the hitchhiker? Like they're not cultivated too hard, but I mean a lot of people put some thought into the fact that he does take that photo, and there's some mysticism in that photo that people think it captures your soul.
Oh, okay.
Right.
He takes the photo, then he like puts this magic dust on this photo and lights it on fire, essentially kind of sending him to hell, capturing his soul, taking Franklin. I mean, there's a lot of blood stuff, like blood ritual type
right.
stuff. You could very much look at this as him marking this group of kids in a mystical way. Even they never resolve it, but the whole like blood on the side of the van where they're like, what does that look like to you? I thought that was gonna be something eventually.
It looks like a bird or like a bird's head of some sort.
It looks like a lot of stuff. But did he essentially mark this van into negativity, into evil? Like, and nothing will, like he cursed them of sorts.
I think that's fascinating.
Yeah,
I like that a lot. And then there's also a bunch of talk of the astrology talk. Like this means bad for you. Your Venus is in retrograde or whatever the fuck they say.
Saturn's in retrograde.
Yeah, and it's not good. Like she specifically says, like it means you're gonna have a bad day today.
They're hinting at all this stuff that is just like things aren't going well, and they're just like, okay.
It's just like all I think of is they're like he does this. He does this thing and he burns the picture of Franklin. Then he does like it's like the blood sacrifice idea almost. And he did it to himself too. Right. And so did he use the same knife on Franklin?
Not the same one, but
he pulled out his own knife, right? Okay, but he did do blood.
He's now mixed blood together.
And Franklin, he drew blood on Franklin, right? And you do all that, and then they're sitting there like, well, according to this, the astrology, Saturn's in retrograde, and then all of a sudden, like she drops like her pocket mirror, and then like they drive past a black cat, and then they drive under a massive ladder,
a massive A-frame ladder.
That's weird.
What do they do that for? It's like, man.
Anyway, let's keep on going. We got to get that cemetery.
Hey, let's go to this gas station that's half a mile from where we dropped off the Psycho. That'll be good.
Dude, I love his performance in this. Like the hitchhiker,
Yeah.
he is like it's almost like they legitimately got an insane person to do this.
Very believable.
He's so good, and
I like it.
I love how he's like he cuts himself, and it seems like it's like one of his tricks that he does. Like he's stoked about it. He's like, dude, check this out, and like, actually, though, you're insane. That's not actually cool. It's just like
he does
he's
this
like,
for his friends back home.
Yeah,
and like,
exactly.
Whoa, wow.
It's like, wow, dude, he's so crazy, man. Wait till he takes down like 3 more beers. It's like,
it's like you all knew crazier. You all knew that kid in your neighborhood when you were growing up, or that kid at your school that would just like try to impress you with the weirdest thing. You're like,
yeah.
That's not cool.
Everybody had that mud kid friend of theirs that you're just like, oh no, I don't fucking want to be
mud kids.
Dang it!
He's also a good businessman. Like, supply and demand. They didn't know they needed a picture of Franklin.
You're right,
but he did.
That's right. He's like $2.
It's a good picture. You can pay me now.
You can pay me for the picture, and I love it how I love how who is it? It's Jerry who's driving.
Jerry's a driver,
and he's just like, what's going on back there? And they have to re-explain everything.
He doesn't have a mirror.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, his mirror is what fell and broke, and that's what caused more bad luck. He's like, what's going on back there, guys? I can't really see anything. He's like, he just asked him to pay for the picture he just took. He's like, oh, that's super weird.
Weird. Huh?
It's like, oh, you don't know the half of it, Jerry. It's just like,
you didn't see any of the shit this guy did.
Any more
Jerry,
of
this is your fault for pulling over.
Hey, why does it smell like smoke back there?
Oh, and this van, I'm telling you, not only is this van such a piece of shit that it doesn't have seats, but do you see how fast they pull away from this hitchhiker once they get? It's just like, he's like, wait, and he's just, I mean, it's literally going like a mile an hour.
Punch it, Jerry!
It's stuck in second.
Damn it!
Okay, they get to this gas station. Man, does that dude have a forehead on him?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. There's a head on that man.
And it's so. Okay, whatever. We're gonna make fun of him. He's probably dead.
Oh yeah, he's dead for sure.
Like, the only thing that's sunburnt on him is the forehead. And
I'm gonna pull my hat down a little further today while we're having this conversation,
man. I was shocked, but it's like Sally's the Marilyn Burns, who plays Sally. That's like one of her friends that she just had come do the movie because they needed someone to play that guy.
Really?
And so he just came down and did it.
That side. What's his name? Sido?
No, the washer guy.
Oh, the washer guy. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I was gonna say, yeah. Like they pull up to a gas station, and like I know that it's Texas, but your first sign of trouble is that they don't have any gas, whether you think it's coming or not. This gas station that's in the middle of nowhere that should have gas all the time should have
If
gas.
you're not free to leave, there's an issue here.
Yeah. But you find some comfort in the fact that this no-gas gas station has barbecue, and you're going to eat the barbecue, right? You're going to have barbecue? Barbecue is not my idea of like good car snacks.
No. No.
It's the 70s, though.
It's
what else do you think they have in gas stations in the 70s? We're not talking Quick Star where you walk in, you're like, ooh, chicken sandwich and ooh, some waffle fries. Like what is the?
It can't
they probably don't even have candy in gas stations.
I was going to say, it's like, don't you have any like Funyuns
No.
or some freaking beef jerky or like an
homemade Laffy Taffy, like saltwater taffy.
Arizona? I'd take
candies and
that.
stuff.
Arizona tea. Got some Arizona tea.
No.
None
No.
of that there. I do find this scene really funny though, because Jim Seidow, who plays the cook, plays the cook. He comes out several times to talk to the boys. He's like, oh, you guys don't want to go mess around no house or anything. We don't got no gas. He comes over like 3 times, and every time he does, that guy comes over and starts washing again.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, okay, we're done.
He always slaps
You guys don't want. Oh, okay.
He does a slap on the front of the car too every time.
You know it's good.
You know it's good.
All right, all set.
So let me ask you this though. I have a note in here that's like, oh, this is such a nice gas station, man.
Yeah.
Like, because as I'm watching this for the first time, I'm like, cool. Oh, he's very nice. He's like, you got to get away. You don't want to do it because he's telling him you don't want to go there. Is he telling him you don't want to go to the house they're actually going to, so that they'll somehow end up at the other house? Like, he's basically doesn't want them to go there.
Yeah,
But in reality, yeah, maybe I'm talking myself out of it. He doesn't want. They're not actively trying to kill people.
I don't think so at this point. I think because I do think he kind of hints at them staying at the gas station. Like, why don't you just have some barbecue and relax for a little while and wait for the truck to come, wait for the fuel truck to come.
Right.
So I think he's maybe trying to coerce them to stay there so they can do that to them.
Okay.
But at the same time, I also think like you don't want to go fuck around. a
They're
house.
not actively like killing people. It's
Right.
just if anyone shows up or something, or if they find somebody, then they'll do it.
Right.
They're not saying, oh, we got to tell them that there's Skinner tickets in this house.
Yeah.
They're not actively enticing them into the place.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're trying to daze and confuse these kids. Aerosmith tickets.
Yeah.
All right. It's like, okay.
Front row.
So, not to jump ahead or anything, but is this? Do we find out later, or is this the assumption then that this barbecue is human meat?
Let's move on to the next scene.
Are we gonna do that?
Yeah.
Are we gonna talk about it later?
Let's move on to the next
All
scene.
right, that's fine.
All right, first, guys, I got to be transparent. We try to be transparent on this show, you know. The one thing you may not know about me is I'm loaded. It's hard being so wealthy, you know. I got money in the Swedish bank account. I have gold bars in the Caymans. I have at least a solid milli buried in the snow-covered lands of Fargo, North Dakota, just off the side of the highway.
Heck yeah.
All of that can be hard to
Diversified.
manage. I'm just one person. I can't be 2 places at once, you know. Plus, as a podcaster mogul specifying in movies, I have a lot of subscriptions to various streaming services to manage, and that may be the most daunting thing to manage of all. That's why I trust Rocket Money to manage it for me. Rocket Money is a personal finance app Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills, all in one place. Most people think they're spending $80 on their subscriptions, when in reality, the number is closer to $200.
I would buy that.
When
makes
you're signed up for so many things like streaming services, you're used to watch one show or free trials for delivery you don't use. It's so easy to lose track of what you're paying for. You guys probably have, you know, you click on something and you were like, okay, I'll give this a shot, and you completely forget about
I've
it.
still got Paramount.
Yeah.
I've still got it, damn it.
Or what I'll do is I'll be like, oh, shit, the movie we're trying to watch is on Stars. Well, I'll go ahead and sign up for it. Already signed up. Weird. Like, that's generally how it goes.
Oh, yeah.
I got on this app and like found so many things. Like I don't need Sycophant Cinema anymore. I really don't. I definitely don't need Trill Stream anymore. And also, it's not 2020 anymore. I have a fiance. I certainly don't need feetpics.org anymore. Stop wasting your money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and manage your money the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/confused. That is rocketmoney.com/confused. One more time, rocketmoney.com/confused. You can also look at your kind of 401k on there.
Oh.
And you can see let's see here.
So you can do like other finance stuff other than like
So
canceling
many more.
subscriptions?
So many more. Like you can see your net worth
Ah.
and kind of manage it that way. It tracks your spending. It's really cool, and I actually really need it.
Nice.
I'm stoked to have it.
We're all. I'll tell you what. Anybody that sponsors this podcast, we're not the type that's gonna lie to you and be like, you should try that. Like, we love all of our sponsors, and this one, Sean, I'm 100% sold on what you just said right now. Like,
It's
I
great.
have to do this because, my God,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. I told you we've been trying to save money on as much stuff as we can, and this is one easy way to save
I
money.
highly recommend it because like even trying to cancel a subscription, it's you got to go through so many hoops, and like they give you a number. It's like I don't want to call anybody
Yeah.
and talk to anybody. You say cancel and it does it for you in like 2
Holy
seconds.
shit.
That's
Yeah.
insane. Okay. I'm sold. Dang it.
Cool. Well, let's go
Love
on to
it.
scene 2. So the group explore a nearby abandoned house owned by the Hardesty family while waiting for gas. Kirk and Pam leave the others behind and discover another nearby house. Hoping to barter for gas, Kirk enters the house. A large man wearing a mask made of skin attacks Kurt with a hammer, killing him. When Pam enters the house, the man grabs her and impales her on a meat hook. AJ, let's resume that conversation.
Okay.
Because you get Franklin here.
Yes.
It was already annoying, and now he's going to walk around with a piece of meat in his mouth.
Yep.
Because he can't hold it with his
No,
hands.
because he's got a wheelless chair.
he's got a wheels chair. Yeah.
Right.
I didn't. I saw the implication there, but I never once thought more than a millisecond beyond it. But I've heard, maybe Sean can tell us the truth, that this is implied as a penis, like this is a male penis. I've been told that this is like actually implied that yes, this is a male penis.
And man, is he sucking on
They
it.
put a dick in his mouth?
They put a dick in his mouth,
Oh,
which made everybody happy. Everybody's like, "Fuck yeah, Franklin!
Yeah. So literally, fuck you, Franklin.
Fuck
Yeah,
you, Franklin!"
Literally, mouth fucked.
If you go back and you look at the shape of that,
It's
that
weird.
sausage,
It's weird looking.
I don't like it.
I don't like
it's
this.
like a cartoony like if like Animaniacs had Al Capone like animated on their cartoon. That's
Yeah.
that's the kind of cigar shape that he would
Oh,
have.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
you're
know?
right.
Yes.
It's so weird looking. Yeah, I mean, I have to imply that it is some of that at least is human meat.
All this barbecue. It has to be, right?
Yeah.
right. I mean, that's a hell of an enterprise they're running then, too. I mean, they don't have to pay for any of it. They just butcher it themselves, and they get it, and then they just sell it back to their next victims.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
Fatten them up.
Dude, they're
cut 'em
all
up.
profit. They're damn.
We're in the
Wow.
wrong business.
We're in the
guys.
wrong business. Why are we in cannibalistic barbecue? Man.
Franklin is hard for me. Just go ahead.
The
please,
invalid?
will
Okay,
you?
well, okay, we're gonna hit this button right here.
If we were on a train to go punch a face, I'm on board.
That's what I'm talking about.
It is like the toughest thing about this movie for me.
Really?
Is watching him in this movie. I think that he is 100% the most punchable face, and I really don't care when he's gone. I'm happy that he's gone.
There was there was like a cool, like when they got him later. I was like, oh.
When they got him.
All right.
Dude, Sean, I wanted to say there's so many other possibilities. Like the old man, we'll get to it. This guy, what's the gas station guy? What do we call him?
The cook.
The cook. Okay, like he is a terrible, terrible person. As we get into this, and you want to punch him too, but Franklin, I think I'm jumping on the train with you, man.
Okay.
I think I am too.
All
Like
right.
it's so hard not to. Like everything about him, there's never a moment where you feel you like beyond him falling down that hill, even though you
awesome.
end up laughing at that. Like you never feel remorse or like you never feel the idea of sympathy for him because
Yeah.
he just constantly complains. It's terrible.
Apparently, it was the same way on set too. Like Franklin, his actor name is
It's like Partain. Or
yeah, Paul
Partain.
Partain. He did the method
Right.
of acting and called everyone by their character name before and after shooting, and would be this way and would be like, "Where's my Dr. Pepper? Toby Hooper, where's my Dr. Pepper?" You know, that kind of shit. Like he would be like that on set. And in Gunnar Hansen's book, he's like, I legit wanted to fucking kill this guy. Everyone did. He was super fucking annoying. He wouldn't shower. Like I know I said that no one washed their clothes, but like they would shower their bodies. He would never do it. He would like be stinky as shit and be annoying as fuck. But in reality, he's actually a really nice guy.
Is that right?
Like in subsequent years, Gunnar Hansen and Paul Partain became good friends.
Wow.
But just on set, he was just like, I am Franklin.
But is this a detriment to the movie on how is it just a shittily written character, or is he just not do a good enough job at it? Because like I do feel like there are characters in movies you're supposed to hate. And you're supposed to be like, yeah, fuck. But this is different. This is like, God, I just don't like this.
When he's not being annoying, though, he's really good.
Right.
You know, like when he's like, oh, we want to go swimming. There's a swimming hole. He's like, oh, there used to be a trail. I bought them 2 sheds over there. Like, for me, that's a good line delivery.
Yeah.
And there's other parts where he's very good, but whenever he's complaining and just yelling, it's bad.
This blowing raspberry scene.
It's so bad, dude.
Dude, yeah, it's like think of like if there was somebody who was stalking them and they came upon Franklin, they'd be like, all right, and he's just like,
God damn.
God, this guy sucks. I don't even want to be dragging me down. Franklin's out here fifth wheeling on 4 wheels, and it just drives me fucking nuts, guys. It's just so fucking terrible. It's so annoying.
What about this? What about Hitchhiker was sent out? Hitchhiker is the guy that like gets the victims.
Yeah.
He puts the curse on them, but they kick him out, and Cook's like, what'd you think about that 5? He's like, there's a guy in a wheelchair. We don't want to deal with those
They're
guys.
tortured enough.
They are fine. Let's send them on their way.
Or is he out there sitting there thinking like, dude, there's a guy in a wheelchair out there. It's like, you ever had veal? Because I'm telling you, I think this is.
There's something about those legs not being tenderized.
They're not tough. They're not.
Well, dude, and
Some
everybody
good eating.
like you somehow do feel a little bad for Franklin, but you don't. Like even, dude, all these guys hate him. There's a line kind of buried under everything. I think who is it? Kirk and Pam go to the swimming hole to just fuck.
Yeah. It's like, hey Franklin, there's a swimming hole around here. Is like, where's the swimming hole at? Because I want to go swim in Pam's hole.
We want to go fuck.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
But do you hear what Kirk says? Kirk says like someone should shoot him and put him out of his misery or something like that.
Yeah.
He like says that, and then they even like kind of like fat shame him a little bit too. They're like, what does he say?
How the heck
like,
did Franklin ever get down to the swimming
It's like,
hole?
oh well, maybe he wasn't always that big. It's like Franklin was always that big.
Somebody maybe carried him when he was little.
Right. He was never little.
That's
He
right.
was never little.
It's like, oh man, like so you do feel you could almost see why he is such a piece of shit because he's been dealing with this his whole life.
Yeah, there is that sympathy that is kind of garnered with him a little bit
then
with
he
that
ruins
shit.
it.
Yeah, and then it's like, well, no, you're fucking annoying.
Yeah, it's like
I don't care what I say about you.
Yeah, like can you
My
imagine?
daughter does raspberries now, and it's beautiful. It's the cutest thing ever. And then you got this fucker going.
Yeah. Come on, Franklin. It's gonna be a super fun time, Franklin. I bet you have so much fun. It'll be just a little trip out.
If I have any more fun, I don't think I can take it.
I just
Done with him.
like if that's what if Franklin was somebody who was like hanging out and was like, yeah, guys, like I spend a lot of time listening to music. I got some great music and stuff to listen to. You guys should check this out. Maybe he plays guitar. He could do that.
Nope.
No, he doesn't do anything cool. He just complains. That's it.
Yeah, and so we get Kirk and Pam.
Yep.
So that they there's no swimming hole, and I'd like this storytelling wise in the economy of this movie. This movie's an hour and 23 minutes, which is so fucking solid.
Actually, when I was about ready to play, I went, fuck yes.
Yeah,
I
I know,
know.
right?
We've had so many long movies. I was like,
I know.
I can
It's
watch
just
this like twice
tight,
tonight.
tight and
Yeah.
concise and to the point. I love how economically this is edited because like Kirk, they see the house and you can kind of hear a generator in their background, and they need gas, and so Kirk says gas, and you get a shot of the house, and then it cuts to Kirk and Pam walking through the woods, and he's like, oh, I could sell my guitar, I could or I could give him my
leave him my
guitar
guitar.
and sell them this and that. It's like, they don't want to buy your guitar. So it's like automatically getting you into this. Like, I don't know. Like I said, the economy of this is just so fast and brilliant. Like, take out all the bullshit. They need gas. They're kind of discussing how they could get gas. And they're going to this house. And when they get to this house, we get some of the most iconic shit of all fucking time in horror movies.
I have to talk about Kirk a little bit because if he's so willing to give up his guitar so easily, that guy doesn't play guitar. He doesn't play
That
guitar.
is the last thing you sell.
He's probably the worst kind of guy who has a guitar. And by the way, he brought it on this trip, meaning he's the guy who brings the guitar to the party and plays like 2 songs. Or else he's like, can you imagine having Kirk there who's like in the back, like tuning his guitar? And he's like, hey guys, turn down the radio. Turn down the radio. I've been working on this song. Hopefully we can hear it over the wind because we don't have AC and also the heat that's ruining our good time. Let me ruin it more.
And taking my guitar out of tune as we speak.
I just typed in songs from 1973 just to see what song he might be playing.
Yeah.
His song is definitely Long Train Running. That's definitely the song. He's like, you guys know that one?
But he only knows that part.
Yes, of course. That's all he does.
Oh God.
Money by Pink Floyd.
Oh, there we go.
Long Train Running by Doobie Brothers. Let's Get It On, Marvin Gaye.
Okay.
Like those are maybe some of the songs that he might know.
Definitely knows that one.
When does Smoke on the Water come out?
Let's find out. When was Smoke
60s.
on the Water? Yeah. So he definitely knows Smoke on the
Definitely
Water.
knows Smoke on the Water.
My brain immediately went to.
That's too difficult for him.
It's like
he does
78.
not know how to play that.
What's the song in the opening of Wet Hot American Summer?
Jane,
yeah. Oh God.
So let me ask you this, Sean. Well, first of all, I mean, Kirk, this is the epitome of horror movies. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Don't go. Like, this is what horror movies are.
Yeah.
It's someone making a decision you would never make in your entire life. Walking up to this house is a mistake. Just seeing what you're seeing. You're seeing a hidden yard of cars.
Yeah.
Like you don't want this. You don't want a piece of this. Then you're hearing generators. Then you're actually going inside of this house, which probably smells like absolute shit coming from through the screen door. But is this almost a shot-by-shot remake from the 2003 and 1974? This first kill on Kirk,
almost,
because it's almost, and even the slamming of the steel door. I was just like, my God,
it is. I think the best first kill in any like slasher movie of all time. It is incredibly brutal because he just kind of stumbles into his own death. He stumbles into there, and Leatherface makes like a pig sound. And the shot of Leatherface like raising that hammer, and it's kind of zooming in kind of a little fast. And then the sound of that thing. It's one of the like best sound effects. Like I was like listening to like the commentary, or I was listening to like a making of, and I just listened to that audio, and it's brutal. Like it sounds like it's hitting meat and breaking bones. And Kirk, the actor Kirk, who Kirk's actor.
The actor who played Kirk?
The actor who played Kirk. Thank you. Jesus Christ. Originally that scene was like, it was just kind of like he just bashed him in the head and it was kind of it. But Kirk was like, I want to do a little bit more. I want to kind of make it a little more dramatic. So it was his idea to get hit once, start convulsing, and then get hit again. And it is like cattle. It is like he's just disposing of this guy. Like hits him, he's convulsing, kind of bleeding a little bit, hits him again. Fucking tosses his body. He's a big guy.
And slams.
It's fucking incredible. I get chills every time seeing this because it's so stark and matter of fact and brutal.
I think that's the best way to describe it is stark, because there's no even though I'm sure maybe there is some underlying character feeling of it, you don't, in like a normal horror movie or another horror movie, there'd be some sort of pleasure taken in this. There's none. You don't get this like pleasure-seeking feeling at this point of, oh, I'm going to take you, or I get to kill you with a hammer. Oh, yeah. It's like it's just a knee-jerk reaction, and I just have to do this. That's just what I'm doing. And like you said, like he just stumbles into this, and there's a big... I don't know when we want to talk about it, but I'll just bring it up at this point. Like there is a big, like we said, this is what the movie that made Guillermo del Toro a vegetarian, right? And how they're stumbling one by one through this doorway, and just are met by their demise unwittingly, unknowingly, just like cattle are into a slaughterhouse.
There'll be 10 wide cattle,
Yeah.
and they all slowly, the fencing gets thinner and thinner to where there's just one going through at a time. That's what it is.
And that's just what happens. And like, that's what this is.
Yep.
It's that just mundane.
Yeah.
To take
somebody
them
came
out.
in my house.
And the slamming of that door
Ugh.
is one of the most jarring things, like, that is just seared into my memory from watching this movie. And I think the 2003 one too. Same exact
Terrifying.
thing. I think they pronounced it a little bit more with the sound effects and stuff in the new one, obviously. But man, in this one, is it weird.
It's so brutal and stark. And I do, you could make an argument of this is his house. And these people.
Stand your ground state.
Exactly.
Yeah, stand your ground state. If Texas has a castle law like Iowa does, these guys don't have much of a lawsuit.
They don't.
Okay,
It's true.
I'm sorry,
though.
they're breaking and entering. Okay, they're breaking the law.
Oh no, are we humanizing Leatherface right here?
You might as well.
They walked into his house and he's
Look.
like, "Well, I'm gonna fucking kill you. I didn't know what you were gonna do."
Okay. Let me break it down. Okay, so if this is what happens, right? They got no lawsuit. They're breaking and entering. They broke in. They opened this door. They're unannounced. Then they startled this mentally handicapped person,
Yes.
who was playing dress up while his caregivers were at work. They got no shot, bro. Fucking no shot.
He killed my friends.
The
He
lawyer-
chainsawed my
The
friends.
lawyer's like,
It's like, you went in his house.
This is what happened after he killed them. Like, what do you want? Like, you're already dead.
Yeah.
And technically in Texas, if you die on a piece of land, whoever owns that piece of land now owns you. Okay, that's
Yeah.
also written into the Constitution.
I think that's a fact.
Yeah.
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Because I just
You should please take this away from me.
if the TikTok gods, Mike, if the TikTok gods wouldn't mind giving me a recut of Kirk walking into that house and he can faintly hear MC Hammer time, and then as he gets closer to the door, it gets louder, and then he opens the door and he just gets Hammer time, and then he slams the door and it gets really quiet. So that Leatherface is just listening to Hammer time.
It didn't come out at that point. It wasn't out
No,
yet.
come on, no, come on.
people were thinking about it. All right.
That's how MC Hammer got the idea.
Maybe Earth, Wind, and Fire, something. I don't know, just something close.
Well, listen, we didn't mention one song in 1973, Freebird. How about that?
Freebird.
How about the solo?
Oh, yeah. Because I am free. Oh!
I want, if it's MC Hammer, I want like when he drags his body out of the way for MC Hammer to do his like dance.
Just right across.
The way. Keep in mind, like that was who played Leatherface again? Gunnar Hansen. That was his first scene too.
Wow.
That was his first scene of the movie, and he was so nervous about it. Now he had a rubber hammer,
Right.
but he hit that guy pretty hard.
It's believable.
And he threw him into the wall.
Believable.
Pretty hard. It's believable because it is true.
Yeah.
He lifted him up and threw him. Like, oh man, it looked good.
We get this iconic scene, and then one after another. This is one of the most iconic horror movie shots of all time of the swing.
Yeah.
The dolly track under the swing, and it's just as simple as they lifted the swing up as the camera left it, and then you get this shot of the beautiful shot of her ass. It's great, and then the house in the background literally engulfing her as the camera gets closer, and so does she. It's brilliant.
Well,
It's and the producers were like, "That's not on the shot list. You guys aren't doing that." Like, we got this. Ain't not the shot list. You're not doing that.
We're doing
He's
it.
like, we are fucking doing it, or we are quitting.
Do you think there's something to this shot too? Because it not only, I mean, you're fixated on her beautiful bottom, but also her bare back.
Right.
Sure.
And you have this beautiful bare back that is soon to be not beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't know.
My
I don't know if
gosh.
there's an idea behind that.
I didn't even think about that, but that is genius. That just gave me chills.
That's
that
really
just gave me
cool.
goosebumps, dude.
Well, I have a new segment.
Ooh, here's a prop.
We get to pick each other's props, and I already have one for Sean.
Oh, great.
And I think this is going to be really cool because, Sean's about to get married here. He's got a house with his fiance. And what I picture is this. Sean brings home a couch made of human bones and skulls one day, and then his fiance comes home and is like, "What's that?" He's like, "It's our new couch, babe."
It's my prop. I fucking wrote it down.
Yeah,
I want the bone skull couch.
I would love to just like Sean's like, "Hey, you want to come over and watch a movie tonight?" And I come over and that's his couch.
And
He's
that's
like, yeah, dude.
it's like
It's the Texas Chainsaw limited edition couch with bones on it.
It's a Bob Bird's original.
Sean's disgusted by this whole place. He's like, "That couch is tight."
that couch is awesome though.
I can't believe I picked it.
You could have picked
Sorry,
a chainsaw. You could have picked, and that's literally the one I picked.
He comes over and Sean says, "Sorry, Mike, it's a little stiff. I haven't broken it in yet."
Get the belt and put this on. You fucking dickhead.
Your joke hat on.
Get both. I have to put on. It's a bad joke, but it's worth it. Huh?
All right, then you got to pick a prop for me.
For you, I am going to.
Or no,
pick-
sorry, you have to pick a prop for AJ.
Oh shoot. Okay.
What would AJ want?
AJ, you have to pick one for me too. So you're thinking.
Yeah, if you got one for him.
I got it coming.
Okay. I can't. I gotta think of what. I gotta keep.
Just
thinking.
pick. Just do what I do. Pick something that you would like and give it to someone else so that you can also enjoy it.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
Well, I want you to have the chainsaw. I want you to have that thing.
That's great.
Now that you know how to work them.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. I was thinking about that for Mike, but
Yep.
I think Mike would really like the hook that Pam was set on.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
What would I do with it?
Hang up more bodies.
you
Awesome.
know, just the tramps that come along.
Yeah.
with you.
Just the tramps,
Just
dude.
the
I love
tramps
it,
that
man.
tramp into your house unannounced, breaking and entering.
Stand your ground.
It's right. Stand your
Not in
ground.
my small town.
You can take that off now.
Can you engrave the hook with that? It says not my small town.
My small town. No
All right,
matter
cool.
how nice your ass is.
One little anecdote about that shot too is that I really like is that Daniel Pearl came up with that, the cinematographer. Also, in the credits, Toby Hooper wanted him to be known as the cinematographer, not the director of photography, because he wanted Toby Hooper to be the only name that had director in it, which is kind of petty, but you know,
Toby Hooper wanted that?
Yeah.
Wow, that is super petty.
it's kind of petty.
This
but
is my movie.
Daniel Pearl was visiting the set of 1941, the Spielberg movie, because he knew someone on the set, and so he was visiting. And someone introduced him to Spielberg as the cinematographer for Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And Spielberg was like literally in the middle of setting up a shot and was like, that's Daniel Pearl? Okay. So he left, took his arm around Daniel Pearl, and was like leading him to John Belushi's trailer, where they then spoke about that particular shot for like 15 minutes.
Whoa,
There's 100
really?
100 or like 100 to 150 people waiting for Spielberg to be like, what should we do now? He's in the trailer with John Belushi, yucking it up with Daniel Pearl and John Belushi.
Talk about what shot?
The
ass
dolly
shot.
shot.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
That he loved it.
Wow.
I was like, I heard that in Gunnar Hansen's book. I'm like, that's so fucking
That's
awesome.
amazing.
That is amazing. God, that's awesome.
Well, let's move on to scene 3. So in the evening, Jerry searches for Pam and Kirk. When he enters the other house, he finds Pam's nearly dead body in a chest freezer. The masked man kills Jerry with a hammer. At night, Sally and Franklin start towards the other house. The masked man ambushes them, killing Franklin with the chainsaw. The man chases Sally into the house and then back to the gas station where he vanishes.
He's gonna kill you, Franklin. So what's Jerry?
So Jerry goes over there.
Jerry
now.
starts coming over, and like you could see as. Do you guys think this is a little formulaic, or like do you like the analogy, which I do, of like just cattle one by one going in?
I think it works. We all know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So just do it. Just keep sending them there. At some point, there will be a change in all of this, but for now, let's start killing these people off.
What is each individual? I mean, I guess Pam did know where Kirk went, right? But what makes Jerry go there? You know what I mean? Like he's just knocking on the door. Like,
Well, he sees the blanket. Remember, he's just kind of like trying to find his friends.
Okay.
He's just like, oh well, there's a house. Maybe I'll see if they're there. And he's about to leave, but he sees the blanket. That he knows it's their blanket. And he goes, oh shit.
Okay.
And at that point, that's where you're in a tough position. If this were us three on this road trip and you guys had been gone, and I get to this house where I'm like, I'm creeped out by this house. I hope they're not here. But I guess they're not here. Nobody's here. And then I see AJ's hat on the porch. I'm like, fuck. Like, do I go in something bad probably happened, or do I leave to then
Right.
hopefully bring some help? Like that is a very tough decision.
I know
you know something negative has happened.
I know it was the 70s, but like nowadays, I would be like, I'd call the cops, tell them where I am, and then I would go in. Like I'm not going
Right.
in not knowing that I have someone to tell my story if something fucked up happens to me too, you know?
Again, picture what this house smells like.
Yeah.
Picture the
Which in
smell
reality,
coming-
it did smell like that.
Yeah.
Because then they have like the actual like embalmed animals inside that. Fuck.
Yeah. See, and that's
don't
the
go in
thing.
there.
Yeah, you don't go in there. Like you would be pushed away from the smell immediately. Like I don't know how they pressed forward through what must have been felt like a thick smog, like of smell in this freaking house, dude. But you know, it's like Jerry goes in there and he eventually hears that noise, right? And he ends up opening. He's like, he hears something in the freezer, and he pops it open, and he sees Pam. He's like, Pam, what are you doing? There's no time to cool off.
Hey, let me get in there. When's my turn?
We got to find the other guys right now. Ah! And he screamed. Unfortunately they made him go out on that note.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a good scream.
That's I'll be honest with you, I laughed at this point in the movie. When that happened, I laughed.
Yep.
It's really good.
It's kind of funny. They made Glasses McGonagall, Four Eyes McQueasy just go out that way. Like it's unfortunate.
I want to talk about it a little bit later because I think it's in more of the forefront later. But did you find this movie funny at all?
Well,
No.
it's not that I found it funny, only because like some of the timing is comedic. You know, we've talked about it before that you know there's a very small difference between comedy and horror. You know what I mean? And one of the things that's so very similar is timing. Comedic timing is all over. Has its fingerprints all over this movie. That's it.
It's set up and then scare or set up and joke.
And it's cut off.
Yeah.
Jokes are the punchlines, the hammer lines are very set and square.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then the joke's over. Rather than like horror movies nowadays will tend to linger on that, you know?
Yeah, well, it's funny because Tobe Hooper intended this as more of, like he didn't intend it as a comedy. He wanted to scare people and make a horror movie, but he did find it funny. He did was at the forefront of his brain was horror, but at the back of that was comedy. And it's one of the reasons why he wanted to make sure this movie could be PG. And so, because he wanted most people to see it. Like he didn't want an X. Right. And the reason they gave it an R or an X was because of the implied violence. You know?
Yeah, Tobe Hooper's a fucking psychopath to think that he could ever make a movie called Texas Chain Saw Massacre be PG.
But you know, like
he didn't even come close.
This movie, but this movie today would probably be PG-13, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, but keep in mind PG-13 didn't exist.
Exactly.
But even that, maybe you got a PG-13. No chance in hell are you ever going to make this movie be like, I want the masses to see this.
The pure subject matter of it is not going to fly. Maybe back then because, like you just said, PG-13 wasn't around. But
and there was PG, there was PG, then there was R, and then there was X, and he kept going and getting an X rating, and he kept trimming things out so he could like get it down, and then they finally gave it an R, and he just threw his hands up basically and said, I give up. But one of the coolest things that I ended up reading about this was how he did it, because he would go into the kill scenes and he would trim off like 3 to 5 frames of the kill,
right? And
he would let your brain do the rest of it. So you don't actually really see a lot of things. Your brain fills it in.
Yeah.
I can't remember where I heard this. Maybe it was another podcast or a YouTube or something talking about how most people think that they see the hook go into her back.
Yeah.
You don't.
You never do.
You never ever do, but you like think you did.
Right.
Because you know what's happening. They show the hook by itself. Then they show her, then they show the hook by itself, then they show him holding her up. Like, you don't know that. I mean, you don't see it, but your brain makes it happen.
And your brain will make up the more terrifying things that this movie could
Absolutely.
ever have filmed. You know,
Yeah.
and if it doesn't show it and implies it, your brain does the work, and it's more horrifying than anything they could
Yeah.
ever do.
Absolutely.
You know, and that, I mean, that's why I'll get into it later. But a diatribe of this film was just like, oh, it's fucking heinous, horrible. Like it shouldn't. I don't know how people made this movie or even thought about this. And in reality, it's like, well, you did that to yourself. Like you saw, I saw the hook go into that girl's back, and that. Why did you do that? It's
Your
like,
brain did it.
I don't think you did because it's not there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're a little bit more sick than you're giving the movie credit for.
They trim out, they cut out. There's not near as much blood as people think
Correct.
is in this movie. It's actually not a very bloody film.
Not at all.
There's probably more blood in Rocky. Like, to be honest, like. Your brain does fill in a lot of it. Like you see red on some people, but you don't see a ton of blood.
Not until the end
Yeah.
stuff. But I got to tell you, we're watching this where we get Sally pushing Franklin through the forest. I'm like, this movie took a turn for the worse.
Yeah.
I can't, because he's kind of been out of it for a little while now.
Yeah.
We've seen some cool gore and stuff. Now we're hearing his whining again, and like, there's no way you're pushing this man through the forest. Like, this just seems impossible. And I could not believe how fast he was just gone.
Yeah.
And it was like, hey! And really, like, he was sacrificial for Sally, because, like, if he would have been a fully bodied, capable man, we don't know what would have maybe happened in that point.
True.
But yeah, the fact that she had to be pushing him, she was behind him, and he just,
Maybe I can get 2 for 1. I don't know.
Well, they say you don't have to be faster than the lion. You got to be faster than the other people running from the
Yes,
lion. All right,
you
and
do, baby.
unfortunately, Franklin can't push himself that fast.
I imagine this was an applaud moment in the theaters.
You have to. I mean, it was a applaud moment for Gunnar Hansen. Like the day of, he's like, "Fucking finally, he's gone." You know, and funnily enough, this movie's called The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This is the only guy to get killed by the chainsaw.
Yeah,
Damn.
actually succumbed to the
Yeah.
chainsaw. Whereas
Jerry gets it post mortem.
yeah, that's
course,
right.
yes,
yeah,
yes.
Jerry, Kirk, they all. Anybody else gets it after the fact. Yeah, I just think it's very funny. Like, there obviously wasn't a lot of thought here, and I understand it's like, well, shoot, like Kirk had the keys and stuff. Well, I guess I'll come with you. I'll come with you, Sally. It's like, no, stay here.
Stay here.
What if we do have to make a quick getaway? You think I'm setting those ramps back out for your ass?
We're going to actually ramp you back into the van so
I'm going to
you're
put
ready
you
to go.
in the van so you're ready to go. I'm not about, well, but it's hot in there. I'll roll a window down for you. It's just like, what?
You gotta get a running start towards that ramp. Okay.
Yeah. And she's going to push him up that thing?
No.
No.
Nuh-uh.
And then we get this chase scene.
Deuces, Frank.
We get this chase scene, and it's like this is where I get bored of slasher movies. Is like the chase scene.
Yeah.
Like a lot of Rob Zombie movies will, like the last act will have a chase scene, and it goes on for a long time. And this almost gets there for me.
It's close.
Like it gets like, okay, stop fucking running and screaming, you know. So it breaks it up. She goes into the house and does see Grandpa. And that was actually Bob Burns' idea, because this is a house full of men. He's like, there had to have been a woman at some point. So
Okay,
he just made the grandma and like just forced it on Toby. Basically, just be like, it's got to be there. What the
Just
fuck
whatever.
else?
That's fine. Show it one scene.
And
Call it
there's
good.
there's some interesting thought to be made of this house being ruled by men. We can talk about that later if we want. But it's broken up by this, and it's funny too because it's like the only time in any maybe horror slasher movie that the killer does get scared by the final girl. Because when he does get through the door, she's coming back downstairs. She screams at him, and he's like, and then he starts going after her again. It's like there's a fun, like a weird detail that I saw.
Yeah.
Rewatching this for this show, I'm like, oh, weird. I never noticed that
Right.
before. And then she does what everyone watching a horror movie would tell her to do, screaming at the screen, and just jump out the fucking window.
Yeah.
And she does. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
You know?
She actually does what most people might do in that situation.
Yeah.
I do find it hard to believe that this large man who has mental disabilities, I'm guessing, right? It's kind of implied, right?
Yeah.
That this guy does anything active in his life, has ever done anything active in his life. It pretty much just sits inside and like figures out how to like kill things. How in the world could this guy run so fast and so far for so long?
Look, we're artists, okay? You know, we do art, we play music, we do this podcast. I consider it art. We don't go on runs. We don't take care of ourselves like that. It's not happening.
I just find it very hard to believe that this man can have superhuman strength and speed and stamina.
Well,
chainsaws are heavy.
They are.
They are heavy. That's a heck of a thing to run with. He is a big guy.
Yes.
He wore like boosting shoes,
Platform
right?
shoes
Like platform
type thing,
shoes.
yeah.
They had
Which
like
made him like 6'5" or something like that.
Yeah, was I thought he is. He was already like 6'3" or something, and then they add this to him because he's a big guy regardless.
Yes.
Him running through there. I guess you know what? If you're bound and determined for something for a tea party attendee that he was hosting, whatever the hell he was doing in there, I mean, you're dedicated.
Yeah.
You're dedicated.
And this is another Terminator 2 thing where the person chasing was way faster than the person in front of him.
Oh my God, yes.
So yeah, what apparently every time you see him just going, oh, gotta get this branch or
Getting
something, was him just being like, all right, come on, run faster, be more scared. It was pretty cool.
In actuality, he was just running around. He was trimming the bushes, like because he was gonna get in trouble if he didn't. Because he told him, he's like, I told you to go out and trim the trees.
He's doing
He's like,
two things
oh
at
shoot,
once.
I have to do that too.
2 birds, 1 chainsaw.
2 birds.
You know.
You got it. See?
So yeah, this chase scene does like almost get to the point where I'm like, okay, fucking cut to something else, and then they get to the gas station. You know,
And he just and that'll be in our next scene.
Yeah.
We'll move into that, but he just vanishes, like he's just gone. It's kind of creepy, right? All right.
Yeah.
Scene 4. The station's proprietor confronts Sally for a moment, after which he beats and subdues her, loading her into his pickup truck. He drives her back to the house and picks up the hitchhikers. As they enter the house, the masked man reappears. The two brothers bring the old man, Grandpa, down the stairs and cut Sally's fingers so that Grandpa can suck her blood. Sally faints. I'm immediately taking my chances back with wielding, mask-wearing Chainsaw Man after encountering creepy. This scares me more. The gas station cook scares me more than the chainsaw Leatherface does.
Really?
I don't like that. Like, you know, that moment, and we kind of bring this up all the time. We should just do it. Running scared when that family, spoilers, like you find out what that family is all about.
Yeah,
that scares me more than the Russian mafia.
Okay,
you know, like the ability for people to be that way scares me.
That sadistic and
yes, like Leatherface
care.
is mentally handicapped. Like whatever.
He's a simple being. He's a simple creature.
Yes.
Right. Like that has one train of thought essentially at this point that given enough time, you could figure it out.
Yes.
Right. You could figure him out and outsmart it. Right. Outsmart him. That you're like, okay, this you're right because. This person is
methodical.
Methodical,
Yeah.
yes, exactly. That's a good point.
And just the old man against a young beautiful woman is just like ugh.
And his weapon of choice was a fucking broom.
Yep,
It's
you never
just
know,
like,
man.
Goddamn. Well, he was actually like they made a fake broom for him to hit her with, but it wasn't looking good. And so they just did the real brooms. Like, just do it. Like I said, like a lot of people came out with actual injuries, and she came out with a bunch of bruises because of this. And Jim Sydow was like, I don't want to fucking hit her. Until he's like, fucking hit her.
Hit her.
Like, okay, goddamn it. And so yeah, he would actually hit her with a. I mean, if you think about it, if you've ever held one of those brooms, like that would fuck.
Oh yeah,
they're pretty heavy. Those old ones are.
Yeah, wooden handled broom.
Yeah,
like I mean, yeah. Do you guys? So we've determined now that it had to have been human meat. Like, this is a Texas-style barbecue place. Texas barbecue is beef.
Okay.
What don't you think that if these were like Texas kids, this is a plot hole? Because
wait a minute.
Number one, Texas barbecue is beef, and this tastes a lot more like pork, right?
I've been told chicken, maybe.
Long
told, yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, it's like this is what it is. But then it's like it's like right away you should be like, this isn't Texas barbecue. Wait a second,
I figured you out,
Scooby-Doo.
This brisket. This isn't brisket. It's like, do they use the regular recipe? Does this barbecue joint make their own barbecue sauce? Because most of the time, they're only as good as their barbecue sauce.
I agree.
It's true.
I would
Right?
agree with that.
That's true.
Now, Texas brisket, salt and pepper rub. Do your research, guys.
Right,
okay.
right.
This is the kind of research we do for you guys. Texas barbecue brisket. It's salt and pepper only.
Yeah.
All right. This is closer to pork. It looks dry in sausages and stuff like that. No.
That's not for me.
Dead giveaway right there. No
She
pun
shoulda known.
intended. She should have known. They all should have known. They should have run and called the cops right away, if anything, on their barbecue.
As a lover and defender of this movie, I will push back a little and be like,
Okay.
I assume they're like college kids, you know? They've been eating lunch meat.
Mhm.
They've
They've
been
been
eating
eating Lunchables.
Lunchables. They've
Yeah.
been like frozen pizzas,
Ordering pizza, ramen,
ramen,
you know.
bunch of
Mini
ramen.
Totinos.
They forgot the taste of Texas barbecue, you know?
Yeah. I
Maybe they're not
guess.
even from Texas.
You're
Yeah.
right. Well, they've
We
got
know
be.
at least 2 of them are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we know at least 2.
Yeah, exactly. See, I'm just saying, guys.
Okay,
I
I
think
hear you,
this
man.
is.
I feel you.
I think it was a giveaway, and I think that these guys should be ashamed for serving this kind of food in Texas. But that's just me.
I don't have a lot to say about like them getting Sally to the
Right,
house
right.
or anything. Like it's just pure craziness at this point. And like we do meet back up with the hitchhiker and know that he's a part of the family. Shocker.
Yeah, shocker. Weird.
Oh,
And so
we
yeah,
met 3 people in this area. It's so crazy that they're all related.
Well, it is backcountry Texas. I think a lot of people are related.
Yes.
Anyway.
it is just crazy that to like go get Grandpa, and then Leatherface has his like dinner.
He's got 3
guest.
different outfits
Yeah.
on in this, right?
He seems like
3
you know,
different masks. He's got
Right.
multiple masks
Yeah,
too.
right.
He
Yeah.
seems like he's the one that they go to where he's taken over the female role as well. Like there's a lot of gender bending kind of stuff to do with Leatherface, which is fascinating.
Doesn't further movies
Yes.
actually take that even further?
Yeah.
Like he is
Yeah.
fully cross-dressing in a few of those other episodes.
Mhm.
Damn. Yeah, this like I was so weirded out by the grandpa thing earlier, and then when they fucking bring him down and he sucks her blood, I'm like, this is the most disturbing moment of the movie for me. I don't like this at all. Like, and I'm saying that I'm creeped out. This is when my wife bailed.
Yeah.
She goes, I'm out. And
Yeah.
she hates this shit, but she was like, nope, that's it. I'm out.
These dudes are into some kinky shit.
Man, that is so
Whole new-
fucking creepy.
It's
new
incredibly
level.
creepy, but I also can't help but think it's kind of funny
See,
because he's sucking on the finger. He's like, like he's like waving his arms like a little kid, like he's happy.
and that's what
Don't like
that's what
that.
makes me terrified.
Just-
makes Sean happy. I'm just like,
it's so insane that it's funny.
it's a warm blanket to Sean.
There's a certain point
It's a
where
weird
it's
blanket.
it's
Leather.
yeah. There's a certain point to this movie where, like, especially this upcoming dinner scene, where it's just so insane that I have to laugh at it anymore. You know, it's
Maybe it's because but did you feel like that from the first time you saw it?
I
Probably
know I know
not.
it was like deep down in me.
Okay.
I know like when I first saw it, I'm like, this is fucking insane. But like that uncomfortableness is like kind of what makes me want to laugh.
It's
You know?
like modern day horror movies always have the funny stuff in it.
Yeah.
So they're just like, you're like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's funny. This is funny, right?
This is really funny.
Oh, good. Some comedic relief.
But they were it was a long night on this shoot, and that scene where he cut her finger, the prop wasn't working, and so it was like a fake, like the hitchhiker did on his hand. There was like a little tube that went into the knife to create the blood, and it wasn't working. And Gunnar Hansen got frustrated and cut her for real.
Fun.
And he sucked on her blood for real.
He did?
Yes.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and she thought that Gunnar did that because Toby told him to, and was just like, just fucking do it. But like he admitted to her that he was just frustrated that nothing was working and apologized to her, and she had since forgiven him. But it is kind of fucked up.
I don't like that.
That is one of the craziest factoids that I think we've had on this show. Like that should bend people's minds. Hey, we were frustrated because props weren't working. We're all frustrated inside of this like house that's 110 degrees, 106 degrees. Like it smells like shit in here. I've already puked 3 times. I just decided to cut you for real.
Yeah.
And then that guy sucked on him for real.
He didn't know until like this convention that they did that it was real blood.
It's like,
And even
God,
at the
it
time, it's
tasted
like-
a little.
Yeah, salty.
irony, but
Like even at the time, like 73, it's like AIDS, you know.
yeah.
Well, and what do they say? The reason why they did this scene for so long is because the guy that played Grandpa said he's only doing it one time.
Yeah.
Like he's only getting into that makeup one time.
Took him like 12
That's
hours
right.
to get into it or something.
So he apparently had like a 36-hour day.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
like 12 hours of makeup, 20 hours of shooting, 4 hours of pulling it off or something like that.
Once
Yeah.
he gets into
He
it,
goes, "That is
I'm
it.
not getting back
We're not
into
doing this again. We're going to do all the Grandpa scenes now."
Yeah.
Crazy.
Ugh. I agree with you, Mike. Like, this is the place where it just goes off the rails for me. Like, it's just them sitting around the table and
Well,
there's
that's next. Yeah, come on here.
is it okay? Okay, good.
Should we go on to the final
Yeah.
scene?
Yeah.
Okay, let's
Yeah,
finish
go
this
for
up.
it.
So the next morning, Sally regains consciousness after eating and then planning to kill her. Sally breaks free and runs away, being pursued by the brothers. An oncoming truck accidentally runs over the hitchhiker, killing him. Sally, covered in blood, flags down a passing pickup truck and climbs into the bed, narrowly escaping Leatherface.
So yeah, it's where it goes off the rails for me. I agree with you 100%, and I just think that like it's insanely unsettling, and that's what this movie ultimately is to me. Is
does
just
it.
completely unsettling. It's not even a gore fest. It's very suggestive. It's the epitome of suggestive. Like it is the most literal sense of suggestive, because as much as you think they show you, they really don't. They'll make you flinch at the perfect time to make sure that you miss it and make you think you saw it. That's part of the brilliance of this movie. I will hand it to it. But there is a point like this where they're at this dinner scene now, and she is tied up.
Breakfast or
Breakfast,
whatever. the hell.
breakfast, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's all meat on there.
So it's human.
It's got to be human meat.
It has to be.
That they're just sitting around, and they've made mention of this before, that the movie, the set, just the house smelled terrible. This meat's been in there for God knows how long. It's all rotting. It's like legitimately, and but then you have them sitting and looking, and Leatherface keeps getting up and looking at her, and Hitchhiker is just laughing and making fun of her maniacally, like, oh please, like that. That is the worst, I think. And it goes back to the cook that he says, well, I just don't take pleasure in the killing. You know, I'll cook it up.
Just some
But
things you got to do.
And I think that's another play on some society, societal.
Especially with like meat and stuff.
Absolutely.
Like, what if there was a windows on in the slaughterhouse? Everybody be vegetarian,
Right,
You know,
like
that kind of stuff.
Well, I don't mind cooking it and handling it afterwards, but I don't want to kill it.
I don't want to see it killed.
You know, and that's a lot of people in this world. And I just sit there thinking, like, I can smell this house.
Yep.
Everything is unsettling. And then I think about this, and I'm just like, you know what? That's got to be the worst fucking place. You know, these assholes don't fucking flush the toilet.
No.
They're just after they're out there, just drop like sweaty, just ass coughing their meat, sweaty bullshit into the toilet, and that's what they're dealing with day in and day out in this house. That's disgusting, guys.
I don't like this. It takes me off the train to like, I'm like, I think I like where this is going. And now they spend too much time at this dinner table, sort of being funny, but also with her just screaming. And
It's super
I
loud.
can't take. After about a couple minutes, I'm like, stop fucking. Like, I don't want this scene to go on anymore.
I just don't.
Grandpa's going in the background, and he's maniacally laughing. She's screaming. I'm like, it's over. Move on. Like, move on to the next scene. This is where I kind of was like,
You feel it,
Grandpa's
though,
the
man.
best.
I say that it
Yeah.
makes me uncomfortable, which is probably what they're trying to do.
I think it's exactly it. Like it's such a rush of emotions and a wave of just pure uncanny craziness.
Yep.
And it's unrelenting, and like the editing feels like that. The filmmaking feels
it gets in on her eyeballs.
Those
and stuff.
close-ups are fucking crazy, and like, yeah, you're right. The screaming does get to you, and then this all kind of culminates when they bring her over to the like, let's have Grandpa have a get at her, and like, yeah,
Dude, you
And
almost want Grandpa to succeed so she'll shut the fuck
yeah,
up. And he does it.
yeah, you're not wrong. But it's so fucking disturbing.
Yeah.
This guy who is frail and pretty much dead trying to kill this woman and would be the most terrifying death probably of this movie because it's so slow.
It would be so slow.
You know, like it's, and then
she takes one hit to the head, kind of. Like there's one that kind of happens.
Hit her.
Yeah. Ugh.
It's just, I mean, it's literally being killed like an animal,
right,
by someone who hasn't killed. Yeah, exactly. And it's like if you would want to be killed, you'd want it done fast, right? You know.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then at this point, she's like,
as
do
it was promised.
Yeah.
Actually. Yeah.
And then she eventually gets up and escapes, and you're like, you can take a fucking breath. You know. Like that's
almost
the way
like you got
feel.
out of the house and now you
it's
can
like
breathe.
when she breaks a window, like she can breathe again, and like I can breathe again.
The fact that it didn't happen so quickly, just like all the other ones, is this small like glimmer of hope and possible relief that maybe it will be okay. But then there's the flip side of it, like you're saying. This could be the worst part of it all that they're going to cap this movie off with.
Yeah.
So it's very, very hard to watch.
I love the look on her face too when she gets out of the hell and she jumps out the window. It's like, holy fuck, I'm outside. What do I do now? Like, run. Like, she's lost it. You know?
It's like super bad. It's like, what do I do? Run!
It's so good, and what a satisfying death for the hitchhiker.
Oh my God! Yes.
Oh, it's so awesome.
Let me read you my exact note,
Please.
Michael.
Please strike what I just said and let AJ do this.
No, keep that in. Is there nothing more satisfying than this dude getting absolutely picked and steamrolled by this guy who's clearly on his way to the arm wrestling world championships?
He's about to meet Stallone.
Yeah.
What was it?
So
Black Mama or something?
Yeah, Black Mamba. Oh man, like
my cock inside the truck.
I was like,
what'd you hit, Dad? Nothing.
I was like, oh yeah, Lincoln Hawk just passing through Texas trying to get there and pick up his son, but no.
He's just headed to that diner to get hammered at 9 in the morning.
I love that episode. Over the Top is a good one. Go listen to it.
That guy's definitely not going to make his drop off, unfortunately. Legend has it he's still running to this day. I really.
Wait, he does the first truck get out? The first truck stops, or does it keep going?
Yeah, the semi,
and he gets out,
and he's the one that gets out. And it's like, oh fuck. Okay, yeah, you're right. There's only one semi.
Yeah,
and he gets out. I had to rewind that to be like, where did he go?
Yeah, we never see it.
But I didn't even see him running off screen. But like, we got to assume he dies, right?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
Are you sure?
Okay, so
he's not getting far.
So we've already established that Leatherface is fast as fuck, and he's pissed. Leatherface at this point is like, God damn it,
he's bound
I gotta
and
get
determined.
somebody.
Yeah, that's a good
This
point.
guy's gonna give up at some point and go, I've made it far enough, and then there's gonna be a chainsaw.
I did really
Was that
want
the sequel? Is that what happened?
Yeah. Let's just say that.
I did really want a shot of him just like after everything was said and done. He's like swinging the thing around. You just see that guy like. He's like Leatherface, like.
You mean he runs past him in that beautiful sunshine?
He's like trying to run past him, but then they do like the. He's just like
he's an ex-football player, so he jukes him.
That's what I say. It's like he just crosses his mouth, spin moves, like just breaks his ankles, just like
stiff arms and right to the face. Like, no,
I really wanted that.
My dudes, I already have one edit, which I will show you after this is over. But I need your help because I'm going to make multiple edits of this. This beautiful, iconic shot of him with that chainsaw. I know Sean's got something to say about it, but what I did was I took music and I put, I'm a maniac. I also want to do dance. I want to dance with somebody. But I'm also thinking like, what a feeling. While he's just dancing with the chainsaw.
Yeah.
That's one of the most gorgeous shots I've ever seen.
What I want you got might be hard to
I'm still dancing by myself.
All right, I'm going to make like 30 edits of this and we'll see which one does the best.
And we're just dancing in the dark.
I want to hear what Sean has to say about that scene, but like that was the only thing that crossed my mind while he was doing it.
I love it. I want that. I can't wait for it. I mean, it's what it is, man. It's one of the most iconic things ever. I love his freak out, and it's actually at sunset when they filmed it. But going back a little bit, when he does get hit by the wrench,
by
Black Mama Driver. that the chainsaw goes back on his leg, and what they had was just like a piece of steel on his leg and then a prosthetic underneath his clothes, which is like super fucking dangerous, you know? And
because it's a real chainsaw.
Yeah, so when he did it, it looks good, but like it didn't go through or anything, but he did feel something. He's like, oh, what was that?
The metal heated up.
The metal heated up. He had like a burn and it lasted for like a day or so. But I mean, they're dealing with real shit. You know, it's fucked up. Like it's low budget film.
That's your shoestring budget, as they
how
said.
do we chainsaw my leg? We should just chainsaw.
We should
my
just
leg.
do it.
He didn't tell him that. He didn't tell him that till the day it was gonna
Did he
happen.
keep asking about how are we gonna film this?
Yeah.
And they're like, we'll get there.
He's like, hey, well, what are we gonna do? And like, because I read like this hits my leg. Like, how do we do that? He's like, oh, we'll show.
We're still working on it.
We'll show you. I'll show you.
God.
But yeah,
Jesus.
I mean, when you watch that ending too, of him swinging the chainsaw around, the frame that it ends on is like, because I think it was his last day of shooting this too. He had such a miserable time shooting this, like everyone did, and he was like wanting to get one back at Toby. And so right when it cuts, that frame is when he's going after Toby.
Dude, I'm
with the
looking at it
chainsaw.
right now. Oh my God, he like raises it up and points it off screen.
He's
Let me
like
see.
going after Toby at that
Look
point.
at this. Look at this. Okay, he comes around and then he goes, watch, he goes like right there. He like raises it and goes that way.
Oh God.
It's kind of fun. Like it's just like he wanted to scare him a little bit just because he was so tormented and tortured during the filming of
wanted
this.
to torment him a little bit as everybody else
And I
was.
also want to say, like, Marilyn Burns as Sally, I think is one of the best final girls of all time in any movie. The scene of her in that back of the truck laughing and crazily, she's never
like,
going to be the same.
She's laughing, but she's not, but she's crying. Like it's like 30 emotions in one.
Yeah.
the mixed,
she's done for.
The mixed bag emotion that is portrayed on her face and must
She's
be going through the truck driver's mind right now. Can you imagine that guy?
He's like, damn, I'm gonna pick this girl up. Wait, what the fuck is going on?
He's like, oh God, what did I get in the middle of?
Just keep going.
Yeah, just go. The anxiety of her trying to get in that truck
Yeah.
I don't like it.
is top tier. I mean, her trying to like trying to like on the tire and like can't quite get it, and then he's there. You know what I mean? And oh man, and it's just go. That look on her face, that sheer terror. How do you do satisfied terror?
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's
a
how
great,
you do it.
Great term for it.
It's like satisfied terror.
Yeah.
That she is just. I don't think will ever escape.
Nope.
Oh man.
Well, and it's the torture of this whole movie, you know, not being able to wash her clothes or anything the whole time and just being kind of tortured and hit for real with broomsticks and actual sledgehammers.
Cut up a lot because of running through the bushes and the sticks
People
and the thickets.
drinking her blood.
Yeah.
Getting her
Yeah.
blood drank.
That scene, she was like, oh, fuck, okay, thank God we wrapped. And then like a couple days later, like, we didn't get that shot. And so she had to come back and do the most like exhausting reaction that I could think of any of all time, and she did that. That was her second time doing it. Was that
It was
what
like
we
our
see in the
Mortal
film.
Are you
Kombat
serious?
podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
It was like the Mortal Kombat.
Just a masterpiece.
Sorry about that, guys. I didn't know. I didn't
That's
read that.
insane.
Yeah, she had to come back for a reshoot.
She had to
for that.
reshoot that part.
Mhm.
Wow.
Fucked up.
Well, and there is, before we close this out, there's a theory that maybe Pam does survive.
Oh,
well?
I did hear this.
Yeah, and I don't know how deep it is, but really, like Pam was alive in that locker, in that cooler. I mean, she obviously was bleeding and had a hook in her back, but it didn't paralyze her by any means because she was able to move. So she's actually feeling pretty good in that AC of that cooler.
Getting energized.
Maybe
Slows down her blood flow.
Yeah.
Yes,
She's not
Sally,
gonna bleed
like
out.
like an ice polar plunge bath.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Anyway, Sally gets away. Obviously, goes to the cops,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then they come back to the house. So
Yeah.
you never know, man.
And I heard that this originated from the actress who played her.
Okay, yeah, she's defiant, saying yes, she does.
She's
survive.
Oh,
she,
really? I didn't
she
know
wanted to say that no, I believe that Pam was a strong character and she did eventually make it out
That's
of
cool.
there.
I like
so yeah, that's what that was her hard belief and addition to the story or theories.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, boys, we dissected this with a modern eye. We took it down. We did what needed to be done. We got to give it a modern day rating to see how it stacks up. Let's start with age. What do you think, man?
Look, it's one of these things. I just think it's where you just give credit where credit is due. I think that's the most important thing with this movie. It is terrifying. It does everything that it's supposed to do. I can't say that it doesn't. Do I enjoy these types of movies? Not particularly. I don't seek them out, but I do when we have our conversations about these movies. And some of the things that I've missed, and Mike, you bringing up like, hey, it's focusing on her bare back, and then that's how she ends up going out. Like now, it makes me want to go back and kind of revisit if there's any more of this like kind of foreshadowing that. Whether it was on purpose or not, right? This isn't Kubrick that we're talking about. that where
Whoa.
Everything is on purpose. All right,
This is Toby Hooper.
This is Hooper that we're talking about, and who was working on a shoestring budget. And
True.
Much like we talked about in Rocky, the times that things became that they had no money were when things got better, as John G. Alvinson said. And I think that rings pretty true in this movie too. Because I think a lot of what the things that they had to deal with added to the characters, the actors who had to play these characters, and really brought it home. Honestly, because they were all under duress the entire time. So I believe it. They're very believable performances. I love how quick it is and how much there's no pleasure taken in this. It is just simply killing for the sake of killing.
Right.
And if you
For food.
for them,
Maybe.
yeah.
I don't know.
Right, because that's what they do. And so, take it let's peel it back, guys. Humanize the goons here a little bit. They're just killing because they need to eat.
We got to
right?
eat, man.
So that all being said, guys, I do get it. I love the theories. I love the speculation of social commentary, all those types of things. I will go ahead and give this a 7.5.
Damn, dude. Sean, what about you, man?
I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you and
Okay,
Josh
you want
go.
me to- okay,
I
well
have
then-
I got a little thing at the end.
So my thing is, and we touched on this exact same thing on The Evil Dead. You have to give this credit with what it did, with what it created for the genre, but also it's not my genre. Like this is not my type of horror movie. I'm not really a horror guy. But with all that involved, like I like this better than The Evil Dead. I do. I think it's more of a little bit more psychological than just like like yeah, blood. Like I do like this better.
that was a good Deadite.
But I will tell you, I do like the remake better.
Okay.
And that's only because of
Michael Bay, dude.
It looks better. They touched on some things a little better. I like the actors and actresses better in that in the new one. It was scarier to me, but this definitely got to go above Evil Dead, but I can't go above The Thing. Those are sort of our three like horror
Shining.
movies. Shining's different. I mean, so I'm gonna go at a 6.48, which is just below The Thing for me, and it is just above The Evil Dead is how I'm gonna hit.
Okay.
And Josh Miller says, "Well, that was something. I really don't know if I've really seen as much of this as I thought I did, or maybe it's just that forgettable. Frankly, the 04, see, everybody's wrong, remake is pretty solid, certainly for trying to stay true to this version. Most certainly like it much more. For 1974, I get it. Something like this hadn't really been done. We had Hitchcock core.
Yeah.
It's a new type of
Brutal,
music.
bro.
Creature features of the 60s, the Romero zombie movies. This certainly opened the door to the slasher films of the late 70s and the ultra-violent, ultra-gore of the 80s. Compared to those times and the Saw movies, this is remarkably not gory. Was that a budget decision or simply being the first of its kind, this was taboo? But looking at this from a modern eye, taking the subject matter out of it, is it a PG movie today? Possibly PG-13, like we said. It's decidedly Texas. I felt hot just watching it, which is why this is part of Summer of 70s.
Yes.
We are in the middle of this unrelenting heat wave, and it feels like Satan's butthole outside. Watching them drive without AC just hurts. But back to the film, there's always something unsettling about houses out in the boonies. You'd be amazed where the weirdos live like that down here. So many places there is literally... so many places there is a house literally in the middle of nowhere, yet they have electricity, water, indoor plumbing. I've spent 20 years as a contractor working on homes, and on many occasions I've told my guys, this is the road where we get Texas Chainsaw Massacred. I don't want to come off as an ass, but I was relieved when Franklin was Chainsaw Massacred.
Hell yeah.
Maybe he gave the best performance,
Hell yeah.
but I couldn't stand his whining.
The invalid gets
Massacre.
validated. All right.
I'm sure you guys have hit all my issues, and looking at this with a modern eye, I want to score it for what it did, for what I did for the movie making and cinema, but I just don't love this movie that much. Again, far superior to Next Generation and TCM2. Modern day score, stripping away everything, I give it a flat 5.5. Okay. So Sean, what about you, man?
All right. One thing I didn't touch on either is like, speaking of like the killers in the family itself, is like there's nothing sexually driving them either. Like they have Sally tied up, and usually with like a serial killer, there is some sexual component to it, you know.
Except for Grandpa who likes to suck fingers and toes.
Yeah, well,
presumably.
that's why I bring it up, because that actor was speaking to Gunnar while he was interviewing him for his book. He's like, it's kind of erotic if you think about it, and Gunnar was like, well, thank you for volunteering that information. That's fucking weird. But like it is kind of a good point where there is like no sexual motivation to it. It's
Sure.
They are just motivated by pure craziness and insane. I just like this a lot. It's even if you aren't fooled by the fact that what happens in the film is real, you are still subjected to an untrustworthy filmmaker. You are at the behest of this seemingly unhinged director who could put you through the most unimaginable horrors. And as far as like horror movies go, this movie got completely trashed and
Well,
was,
of course,
like I said, was like, you know, all the moms came out and picketed for, you know, this movie even being born and thought of, you know. And I just think it's dumb.
It was blocked in a lot of countries.
Yeah, like the UK didn't allow it until like, I think 2000 something, like 2002 or something like that. But the content in a horror film is never as bad as the horror in your real life, because it's happening to you. In a horror film, more often than not, it's happening to fictional characters, meaning you can go into a horror film and be horrified by what you're seeing and what's happening to those characters, but once it's over, you're safe. If you subscribe at all to Carl Jung's theory of the shadow self, it means there is a dark version of human nature. Those thoughts you have that creep in the back of your brain and sometimes break through your rational thinking. Your shadow self is also those repressed feelings of disappointment and buried trauma, which peek through if not in some way satiated. If you push the shadow away or pretend it doesn't exist, then it is repressed and the shadow grows. Horror resonates in our psyche. Ultimately, horror appeals to the shadow self and glimpsing the unfathomable, or some tiny part of being reminded of the deep, unacknowledged parts of our mind. It's not pleasant, but it is necessary. Or as Wes Craven said, horror films don't create fear, they release it. I think these horror movies are important. I think the release of that dark side should be viewed and should be acknowledged. I don't think it should just be pushed aside like people want to put this movie back in the 70s. It shouldn't be shunned or banned. It needs to be there. We need to be reminded of it, and it's cathartic. I think this movie is the most effective horror movie of all time. It's a straight up 10.
Wow.
Well, Sean's picking us up where we lacked here. If we do our full combined score with a modern day rating, we're at a 7.37, which on the grand scale of things that we have done, that's going to land it tied in the 57th spot.
Okay.
You know what movie it's tied with? Gone in 60 Seconds.
Double feature.
Double feature.
Double feature.
Let's go.
Let's go. Well, we hope you enjoyed the episode. Summer of 70s continues. Next week, we have Duel, and we are following that up with Blazing Saddles.
Stoked.
Yeah, if you are new to the podcast, go back this time last year. We were in Summer of 70s then as well. We had Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
It's a
It
fun one.
was
yeah.
a fun episode. Go back and check that out.
All right. I might go back and check that out, Mike. You guys can check it out, too. We really appreciate you listening. If you do decide to go back and you're checking out episodes again, make sure you leave us a 5-star review while you do that. We would love 5 stars on Spotify. You can write us a review on Apple Podcasts, and by all means, find us on social media, because anywhere you can search for Confused Breakfast on the social medias, you'll find us, and you'll get some more laughs.
Go to confusedbreakfast.com as well. You can see some of our merch. I think we have some koozies. I think we got some shirts, some hats. I think we have meat hooks that say "Not in my hometown." I think you could get those there.
Yeah.
Also, go to our website and see our ratings, see our individual ratings of all the movies we've ever done, as well as our collective. Thank you. Goodbye. I love you.
If you made it this far, you love this podcast, which means you can hopefully directly help sponsor this podcast going to patreon.com/confusedbreakfast. You get tons of benefits and added bonuses by joining up and helping this podcast out. We are produced by Upload Media Group in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. We got Scary Craig over there. He's so scary.
Craig face.
He's on the controls. Thanks, buddy. Learn more about them at uploadmediagroup.com. And we are part of the Cloud 10 iHeartMedia podcast network. Learn more, cloud10.fm.
Dare you.
The Saw's family.
Saw your family.
Saw us. Okay.
Isn't that fun? It's kind of fun.
Saw your family.
They did. I don't know.
I gotta pee.
But that was like in the remake only. It wasn't in like Hugh.
Okay.
They were.
Yeah.
I'm really happy you liked it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.